okie dokie. Beautiful. So, last session. Um, I guess a lot happened. A lot happened. Um, I think most importantly, and first worth most mentioning, I think, is Yvaine's journey through all of this. Um, I think speaking to the angel, maybe having some time to herself to review the events, um, kind of decided to retake the second challenge. And maybe confess that she has a bit of I think as it was quoted, when people try to get me to do things, I say fuck you. That's my reaction. Which is a fair defense mechanism. To which, yeah, the angel's basically like, I'm not trying to fuck with you guys, I promise. Yeah, fuck you, make me exactly. Yeah, you retook the second challenge and came to the heart of what the challenge was meant to be, probably. But I think, in my opinion, maybe a little bit more interestingly, the third trial. A shelf was shown to Yvaine in the library, the most forbidden section of the library. Not even Harry Potter got to this part of the library. Um, and Yvaine was allowed to pick between about 10 books, and each one was filled with uh, knowledge and secrets that were powerful, but very difficult for the mortal mind to comprehend. And Yvaine picked. And I think in the spirit of how this knowledge was departed, Yvaine knows what it is, and I know what it is, and anyone who remembers above table knows what it is. But I think the point was made very clear to Yvaine that not all knowledge should be imparted upon all mortals. Sometimes it's more of a mercy to be in ignorance than to be in the knowledge and the know. And Yvaine will be haunted by what she learned that day forever. Unless she could get a quick modified memory going at some point. That would be an interesting side tangent, but I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, Yvaine proved herself quite worthy of the Oracle Eye, not only by passing the trials, but by the willingness to face them. And in the same notion, Kiro also proved herself worthy of these trials, having faced the third trial, which revealed to her a long forgotten memory of her beloved and departed brother, of the possibility of having been able to have foreseen the consequences of his demise and having not been able to go with him, to have spared him his fate, and having foreseen what would have happened if she had. And in a heartbreaking understanding, if she had gone with him, not as a matter of maybe I could have, what if this, what if that. She understood the curse of prophecy in that she gained the understanding that indeed, if she had gotten on that ship that day, if she had the powers of prophecy that day, her brother would be alive. And now will be haunted with that knowledge similarly, as Yvaine has knowledge that haunts her now. Fittingly, with this vestige, both worthy wielders understand the price of knowledge in its fullest, understand the morality that comes with the power of prophecy, and both prove themselves worthy. And both were shown the vestige itself, a beautiful circlet of silver, gilded with the symbols of all the gods, betrayer and prime, and spotted with a beautiful jewel. And it was revealed that there was a final trial, not one of the angels making, not one of worthiness, but one a sort of a dark payment that the vestige requires, a trade, where one who wishes to bear the vestige must have sacrificed a single eye in the pursuit of knowledge. This is the only way the vestige will accept a wielder. And that they have to be mortal, of course. Um, in that, Alistair tried to recruit Cedric to his cause of, can we be serious about this? Fucking a small army of vampires? Really? This is really? Um, to which Cedric basically outed him immediately, to Yvaine, Kiro, and the Angel, making his notions of discomfort known. But again, outing Alistair, saying like, "I'm not going to betray my friends," and he's like, "Well, great, fuck you, I guess." You guys all settled into a very large debate of what to do. Tensions flared, especially between Alistair and our newly fed and freed vampire, Rhevan. It seems that Rhevan had absorbed from Ember's blood, proving more and more so. Most potently was Ember's sort of divine fury in the face of injustice, or at least his perception of injustice, and was a very cold fury, sort of sprouted towards the indignation of everyone trying to determine his life and his execution and his fate right in front of him, and treated that indignation with a cold bitterness, which eventually evolved into outright, I will not be ashamed for defending myself, so try me, bitch, is basically what he said to Alistair. And Alistair basically said, you can all call me a racist, you can all call me a fucking asshole all you want, but at the end of the day, I am a proud servant of the Raven Queen, and whether you like it or not, I will defend you from that which goes thump in the night. And two very opposite sides of the coins, but both very similar in their zeal for their causes. Um, to which I think Ember's statement of "you've got a lot in your hands" that was said to the angel is only just like with every passing moment, which is great. Um, and I believe by and large, that's where we ended off last session. I think those were the most major events that occurred here down in Shade Barrow. So, welcome back to Shade Barrow. October might be over, but the horror never ceases. Um, so that was weird. But anyway, um, the angel did say for Kiro and Yvaine maybe to just take the evening, as this is a large ask. Pop out and just pop out an eyeball for knowledge. Uh, Pour one out for my girl Ayun, and it's a lot. So you were advised to take the evening, as it is late anyway. And at this moment, I'm gonna say that just in case the party still wishes to talk amongst themselves, um, Alistair, Rhevan, and I think the angel will take a graceful exit as well. Um, and will leave the party to either depart themselves or continue the conversation themselves. But it is a late hour, and on the morrow, someone or no one will take up that vestige. And, well, someone's got to take up that vestige, unless you want to live in Orcus's spooky castle forever and ever. So, someone's taking up that vestige tomorrow. You have some time to debate tonight all that has transpired, or find yourselves to restful sleep. I leave it to you, Aurora Concord.
At some point, we will have to talk about the specific of the disorbing. However, we can do that in the morning.
I'm sorry, did you just call it a disorbing?
Well, I suppose there are many different ways you could go about doing it, um, but it seemed a surgical approach would be the most intelligent.
Beverly says, "What do you mean that? What's a deorbing? What does that mean?"
Oh, well, if I understand correctly, uh, and I probably need to get some more specifics as to the nature of the contract, as it were. But in order to take the vestige itself requires the blinding, the half blinding of the wearer. Yes.
Okay,
So,
okay.
um,
What?
the right. So,
That's
in other
crazy.
words, you have to lose an eye. However, it is not enough simply to like injure the eye and it be blinded. It requires, and this is what I need to find out. Does it require the destruction of the eye, or does it just require that the eye be removed by any means necessary? Um, and it must be a self-immolation, and that it must be done by your own hand. But I do want to make sure that, like, I can have Zar hold my head, because or whomever's. It's just that if you're going to be taking out your own eye, it's probably best to have someone hold you in place.
Oh, okay. That's right. That's great.
On that note, in case anyone was still concerned, I am not. I don't. Knowledge is good. I'm okay with the knowledge that I've got. I don't want to sacrifice anything for anything else. I know too much, actually.
No, no, I insist you take your eyeball. No, 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 you take your eyeball out.
Kiro,
Rabbit season. Duck season. Rabbit season.
one day you will have your memory back, and the rest of us will realize how a person is a person, with or without their memories, because you are so you, and I wouldn't change it, uh, not the slightest little bit. Does anyone in our august company, so Honor had a spell that she could do that sort of allowed her to, I don't know, borrow a little extra knowledge from someone, like they she could sort of have a more in-depth thing of a thing that she doesn't necessarily have.
Sadly,
Yeah.
Oh, could you hit me with that in the morning?
Which one?
The knowledge one. I figured I'd.
I meant me or Ember.
Oh, you, please.
Yeah.
Ember, the
Okay.
eyeball is largely water, and so I was hoping perhaps you could do a couple of things. One, if you could freeze my eye enough so that it can't move. Uh, just the eyeball. That way, it feels a little different than the ocular casing. And if you could be so kind as to have Red project what's happening directly in. Actually, I think I'm going to take my left eye. So, uh, if you can have Red just project it so that I could be seeing straight instead of having to use a mirror and constantly be moving, so that I can
But
be more
Lily's like,
precise.
this is fucked. This is so. Oh God, I'm sorry. I'm
She's
sorry.
gonna
I'm
put
gonna
her
I gotta step
hand
out.
on Yvaine's shoulder and just look at her
Could
and
you
go, "You're allowed to freak out about having to cut your own eye out of your head. Like we can figure out legit. You're allowed to freak out about that."
I will do so when we are safe. When we are out of this space, I promise you I am going to fall apart into a little puddle of Yvaine. You can all put me back together. But if I freak out about it now, I might lose my nerve, so I shall approach this with as little empathy as possible.
Beverly goes, hey, suppress and push it down until it explodes. That's what I do. It works. It works. Uh,
You
yeah.
wouldn't rather be unconscious for this?
Well, I don't think I can be unconscious and do it myself. That the
Well,
self-immolation is, you know,
is it
part of it.
required that you take it out yourself? I wasn't sure if that was the case.
To the best of my knowledge, it has to be done by my hand. That is, I believe, what I understood.
I thought you just said that it couldn't be like it wasn't a take back situation. Like you couldn't take your eye out and then have a spell regrow it later on.
I could be completely misunderstanding, but I'm almost certain. We can check with the. Also,
The
has
angel's
anyone
head
else?
just like sticks in. He goes, all I know from what I just felt like it was the moment to come in here and say this. Um, all that I know is the thing is said that you must sacrifice an eye to knowledge. That is what the identify spell reveals. Back to your private. I promise I'm not eavesdropping. It's just like
No, thank you so very much. So very much. All right, so here's the thing. I have performed successful disorbits. Granted, it was on dead things. also assisted glint, so I've got some idea. Is anyone else likely more skilled at this?
Probably not.
I didn't think so.
But by the same token, given the nature of the domain, I think it would be foolish not to inquire in the library. I am certain that there is a manual.
That is
Given the
genius.
proclivities of the previous occupant,
Hmm.
I guarantee you there is an illustrated how-to manual. I have no doubt in my mind.
I had almost forgotten. I had almost successfully pushed the memory of finding out that we were living in a necromancer's home out of my mind.
Oh, which is a good point. I forgot to bring up in the recap. Um, the angel was confronted by Cedric and Alistair to reveal what was in the one guest room uh, closed. It basically revealed that for a while there he was basically like having discourse with like the corpse of his enemy that he killed. Uh, so yeah, as a reminder.
Charming. Ah, so, uh, well, perhaps we should put in a request to our host for books on ocular surgery.
Is
Well,
that dream thing gonna happen again if we try to go to sleep here?
No, it shouldn't, because this morning I cast Dreamwalk, which means you should be able to tell what's real and what isn't. Now, this is theory, and I could be fucking wrong. I have been wrong before. It was this morning, and it was horrible.
Agreed.
However, if I'm going to be removing my eye, I will be damned if I don't at least spend a bit of time enjoying the last few moments with my eyes. So, there are sexier creatures upon which I wish to gaze. So, if you will excuse me, we can talk more about this in the morning. She's gonna go find Zarvok.
Before I lose my eye, I'm going to spend some time on Pinterest tonight. If you'll excuse me. Um,
We look at boards.
I'm gonna look at my sexy boards. All right, fantastic. Yvaine takes a takes her a very traumatic trauma suppressed leave. What about the rest of you guys? Did you guys go to your various whatever you decide to get up to? What's everyone up to? Yvaine's looking at a sexy hobgoblin. What is anybody else up to?
Drysrinn is gonna look at Kiro with a passive of 17 on insight. I feel like she might know something's wrong and just suggest to find somewhere to go spar until we need to go and actually pass out. So, did you guys get any of that?
You're muted there. If you guys are chatting.
Were you able to hear me at all?
I
yeah,
caught the
yeah.
first part. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I kind of just left an open invitation to spar with Kiro until we actually have to pass out, and then that'll be that.
Oh yeah, she's got
Oh,
aggression to
okay.
work off.
Sure. All right. Um, tell you what, Drysrinn, make me an insight check, you priest. Which, let's be honest, priests were the therapists of the medieval world. Not necessarily good ones, but
15.
you know. Um,
I have a passive of
15.
17.
Uh, oh, passive,
He's so
uniquely
sad.
in the situation. Uh, if there's one way to learn to truly understand someone and learn the truth of them, it's through fists. And I would say that's probably one of the doctrine truths of Stormlord. To understand your enemy, you must fight him. And as you fight Kiro, you've seen Kiro fight, you know how Kiro fights, you have context to compare it against. Maybe Kiro's, I'm just taking flavor here, Kiro, so you correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe there's something in the way Kiro fights that is a little bit more like, yeah,
That's a little fantastic, I have to say.
Like as bad as it is, I can't help but admire the timing just a little bit.
That is an excellent freeze frame. Hey guys, thanks for pointing out that I didn't have to do it on my own. That was great. No, I like it. I know it sounds sarcastic, but this is not my sarcastic voice. This is my that was going to be awful. And if not if it being less awful, like and the point was that she was actually going to carve it out nicely so that it was not horrific to look at.
Yeah, no, the only part Hero is used to Yvaine being very clinical about things, but like you are describing in very graphic detail how you're going to cut out your. I mean, you are the calmest person in this room.
Oh
Like
no,
we
she's
got
gonna
our
freak out
issues,
about
but
it. Just, afterwards, after the
oh, don't
work's done.
worry. Afterwards, Hero and Yvaine matching puddles on the ground. Just buy a wagon. It'll be fine.
Drysdale message, says something about therapy at the God's Brawl. I'm like, it was thunder, it was there. And all of a sudden she's grieving again on top of it.
I mean,
ooh,
oh,
wanna
Welcome
throw
back.
this
he's
thing out the
back!
window.
He's back!
All right.
Hey, listen, we're just
I'm
still figuring stuff out. It's cool.
Yeah, yeah, cool, 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 cool. Yeah, don't let me interrupt if you guys have something going right now, or if you don't. Um, yeah, just to
Did.
continue.
We were
Um,
talking about therapy.
got it. But yeah, so you would probably just see Dreiser in something kind of emotional in the way she fights. I'd probably say like the refinement of a fighter's skill kind of losing some of its finesse to probably emotion or distraction. That's what I'll say. Cool. We could leave it at that if that's where we want to leave it. What about any of the rest of you? Anybody
I
else have
think.
Yeah, oh, go ahead, go ahead.
No, no, I was being funny and I couldn't. Anyway, every time you say something while I'm muted, I have to call you out. Anyway, Drysrinn's not going to comment on anything and just hope that this is distracting enough of Kiro's thoughts that it doesn't get bad later when we, like, no over the top nightmares, hopefully.
Yeah. Um, cool. Um, yeah, you guys get back. Beverly's like looking at the bed. She's like, I think that happened to me last night. This bed might be the one not cursed one.
I think it might have been you sleeping in the bed. I think that might have done it.
You guys could come sleep in the bed. We could like all sleep in the bed together, and I could be here to make sure it's not cursed because I don't know why.
Because
I'll
you're a
protect you
paladin.
guys.
You and your talking sword.
Yeah, I mean my talking sword will protect you guys.
I
I
trust it.
great. Well, my sword's pretty great.
You guys make a good team.
I think so. Yeah. He does complain a lot about the Tal'Dorei Council, but other than that, it's pretty great. Yeah, and you guys all have a little sleepover in bed together. All three of you. It's great. Um, cool. Um, what about the rest of you? Anything, any last things to be done?
I have two small requests to make of, I'll
Yeah.
use the word the staff loosely. Um, One, without actually going into the library, I will poke my head into the library
Hmm.
and wave one of the attendants over, explain what it is that I want, and let them go find it.
Ah, got it.
And I'm
Yeah,
if I just get the paperwork piece out of the way.
yeah. Absolutely. Um, yeah, the you kind of approach the one vampire, the Stark vampire, kind of and will kind of like gesture broadly, twitchily, and allows you to enter. And he'll kind of walk over to one of the other guys and kind of does his little hand symbols to the other vampire, um, who kind of climbs up the shelf while like looking at you all the way up, Ember, and kind of gets the book down, comes down, and kind of like offers it to you very shakily, and you take it. He kind of retracts, almost Gollum-like, um, as they yeah shiver with
That poor guy needs help. It needs a solid tech C.
All right, well, we can kind of take this time to plan out the specifics of what's happening. Uh, a borrowed knowledge would help give the knowledge of how to do it, and
Yeah, I
maybe
don't.
enhanced
I,
ability for dexterity to handle the manual stuff.
yeah.
Senator will offer that he has performed field surgery before, but he would not describe the results as delicate.
Well, I think while trying to put myself in Ryan's place, and it's not necessarily my place to do that, but
No, no, I mean,
that the 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 shape water with that kind of specificity, I wouldn't let me do it.
Fair.
Uh, but there are ways to get to that same spot without that necessity. Uh, and that's basically you ice compress it until everything is, you know, just this side of frostbite. Uh, and that will have a two piece effect. One is it's unlikely to move. The other option is if you don't have to perform it, if Drysrinn has it available, a hold person
I was gonna say, yeah.
would potentially suffice.
Yeah, the whole person would
Ooh.
be great.
But from Ember standpoint, it's going to be uh, shape water to create a block of ice so we can numb and effectively cool the entire area. I'll get some silver implements. I'm thinking knife and spoon.
Actually, Yvaine has specialized instruments for skinning, and one of the things would be, it looks like a grapefruit spoon, to be honest with you, but it's specifically for desorbing.
Okay.
I
Well,
almost thought you were
if
gonna say an ice cream scoop.
Yeah, or a melon baller.
Yeah.
There are items in the kitchen that could do the job.
Mm.
but if you've got a specialized tool, then I'll just have red heat metal those as a
To sterilize
as
them?
a cautery uh item as well
Well,
that will.
I mean, we can just cast healing spells after the deed is done. I don't know that we need to cauterize the wound, but as a way to sterilize them, perhaps.
Yeah.
Well,
Problem is wouldn't necessarily understand sterilization. Would understand cautery.
no, but if it's cauterized and the eyelid is put over it, it would seal shut with
Well,
the eye permanently closed.
that's
So,
that's that's the next question of how you want that situated.
yeah.
Because there
Okay.
may be an opportunity to put a uh, a prosthetic of some kind in there. A glass eye, a magic eye, a
I
whatever.
thought. Oh, I thought this. I thought this item was going in. No. Okay.
No, it's a circlet.
No. Okay. I thought there was like a bauble on it or something. Um.
Oh, that
I
would
mean,
be
the
cool,
big
but no.
thing.
All
Yeah.
right. You guys want to? Yeah, we can get back to it if you guys want. I'm gonna just not run Tailspire and see if that helps because it's being particularly in my ass tonight. My apologies. Yeah. Uh, Regardless, I'll see if I could stream some music through Zoom at the very least. That shouldn't have as much of a toll as Tailspire. I'll start getting that going. I'll find the creepiest music on Spotify for you. Okay. Um, so Ember, yes, they hand you a book and you go through it, and it is real, like, I don't want to say Necronomicon, but it's got those kind of vibes where, like, clearly wrote by some incredibly eccentric, uh, a- across the cutting edge due to their lack of moral reserve, uh, book on a surgeon's manual, essentially. on a lot of procedures that make you think,
Yeah, this
yeah,
guy was exactly what I thought he was.
he was, yeah, yeah, whoever wrote this book, whether it's the guy who worked here or whoever, was a genius, but didn't care much about ethics. And you look through it
Oh,
and maybe feel a little like pit in your stomach about it, but you're like, oh, useful now. Yes.
oh, Mengele. Well, that'll explain a lot.
Yeah. Who's this? Dr. Frankenstein? Okay, sure. Whatever. But yeah, you have this, and there would certainly be information in there to help with the surgery. So anybody who will be taking the primary, I'm gonna say not Yvaine because Yvaine will be um, dealing with a lot in the moment. So whoever the yeah, I was gonna say, um, so whoever the let's be honest, the primary quote unquote surgeon, D eyeballer will be, um, as long as they have that book, they'll gain advantage on the medicine check. That is an official medical term, prime D eyeballer. Sweet. Who else has stuff they'd like to do, if anything, this evening? Because you better believe I've always got shit to keep it spicy. Okay. I guess it's my turn then. Um, Hero and Drysrinn have gone to bed, which just leaves my other three victims, I mean players, to see what's going on there. Ah, Ember, we're going to be sticking with you for a minute. So you got
Okay.
your book, and you're heading back to your room to take a peek through that. Um, and you're gonna sense something. Um, Make a perception check. Or actually, no, 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 don't. Maybe what's your passive perception?
12.
Okay, 12. What it's going to be is really just a feeling. You're walking down the hallway, and you've gotten used to these vampires that almost like half fear from you, half kind of lurch in your direction. You've gotten used to that, and you got your Ember, you've got some nerve, you're good. But you go down this one hallway on the way to the guest wing, and just you get this unusual sensation for you, Ember. The feeling of being cold. It is not a feeling that occurs to you naturally, like mostly ever. And the hairs on the back of your neck sort of stand up, almost like a cool breeze went down the hallway. Um, Now I'll have you make a perception check.
Yeah, that's in keeping how this usually goes. That'll be a 6.
6. Okay, you just feel the sensation and the direction of the wind going down this one hallway away from the guest wing.
I'm gonna go back and read a book.
Okay, great. Understood. Sweet. I'm gonna just resolve something behind the screen. And my creepy music isn't being all that creepy. There we go. Let's see, let's see, let's see, let's see. You go to your bed, Ember, and you head to sleep. You wake up at a certain point in your rest. Not for anything, not for any reason that you can tell, but you do kind of, not for a dream, not for anything, you just kind of just rouse from your sleep for whatever reason. Kind of blink a couple times. You have a single candle probably lit by your bedside. Um, Doors closed. Blink a couple of times, and in that way one does when they wake up suddenly from a sleep. Not in a start, not like but just kind of drift to consciousness for whatever reason. I'll have you make a perception check of your room at disadvantage because it's dark in here. It would be considered pitch black, but you have, I believe, dark vision.
I do. And that'll be a 15.
15. You scan about the room, your sight lines strafing from the right side, sort of cross looking over all the shapes of your room. Everything seems to be fine. And you kind of are about to resolve yourself to go back to bed until your sightline returns back to straight, and out of your periphery, you do see sitting on the right corner of the down end of your bed, facing away from you, is uh Rhevan.
My
Still as a
apologies.
statue. Um, he almost starts, and he says, "I know it's I who should be apologizing. I am intruding on your space. I shouldn't be. Uh, I, I, I don't have anyone to speak to. You see, I, I have my father, but what if I have questions of my father? And who do I turn to?"
That is a problem in your particular predicament. Are there a couple of sitting chairs in these guest rooms?
Oh, sure. There's probably a whole sitting area, couch, whole
Yeah.
situation.
Come, let's have a seat. Don't mind if I pick myself some coffee.
Of course, of course. You sit, I imagine, with the snap of a finger, the fireplace just erupts into immediate, filling the room
That's
with light.
that's what produce flame is good for.
Yeah. We've been living for lighting these fireplaces. Um, you do so, the room immediately pours with red light. Um, you begin to sort of make yourself a coffee. He's standing now, but has kind of not fully approached the guest area. And his eyes aren't the usual sort of uh angered. His eyes aren't the usual sort of resolve. His eyes are kind of. He seems mystified, almost one might say, and uh, he just seems off.
I'll gesture to one of the chairs. Please sit. Let's
And he
talk.
does. Yes, yes. He'll make his way to the seat you suggest. Uh, and almost like considering again, like almost like halfway through the motion, forgetting what he was doing, then recounts and does sit. Do you think my father to be? I feel ashamed to ask, but do you believe him a fool?
I don't feel that he's particularly foolish. I think that he has been isolated from his typical surroundings for a very long time. And that has apparently the same deleterious effects that it has on mortal beings. Um, and
Yes.
perhaps on other immortal beings, such as you and your brothers. Um, you seem coherent enough, but uh,
Uh, And that is because of the blood. Which again, I think. But there is certainly flaws to his design. You must admit. He's thought everything through, but how... I mean, he he means to redeem us, but your rival, it seems, our rival, it seems, Ember, this Alistair, does he not represent the distrust of mortals for things they don't understand? They will never trust us. Do you think they could ever trust us? Even tolerate us?
the in mortal society, there are varying degrees of faith. You have some people who espouse very little faith. They believe that the deities operate, but their influence on day-to-day mortal lives is non-existent or so minuscule as to be unimportant. There are other people who zealously believe and are very much tied to the tenets of their particular faith. For Alistair, he is a zealot. He is a particular type of zealot in that he recognizes by onus of faith that there is a cycle to mortal lives, that we are born, that we live, that we die, and pass on. The tenets of his faith indicate that events that break that pattern, break that cycle, are inherently evil. Uh, that necromancy, vampirism, I think Glint called it mummification, lichdom, are all anathema to that natural cycle. His patron deity is the embodiment of that cyclic nature. She is the person who ferries the dead to that next ring on the cycle. Uh, so I don't necessarily see Alistair as an enemy. I think that his absolute faith makes him short-sighted in some regards. Whether he will ever trust you or your fellows, I feel sure that the answer to that is no, because that is a bedrock tenet of his faith, much like it is a bedrock tenet of your father's faith that you are capable of redemption. The control that you all have shown thus far, given your particular circumstance, seems to give credence to your father's belief.
He's you see uh what you say like registers with him a lot. Um and he like very poignantly is almost like pushing against his like temple and forehead, like as if your words are distressing him, almost like he has like a really bad headache. And like the more you speak and the more logic and sense you're making, the more it kind of like strains him. And he says, and what kind of these excellent points and the there are those who will just not understand and to live as my father desires to do good in the world, possibly accept the abysmal injustice of death. Is this truly freedom we go to to abide these zealots, these sycophants of their faith? Because I don't agree with a lot of who I was, and my father has shown me that, but is it not is there not some logic in seeking out a way past death? Is it not just the greatest justice any mortal is given to die? No
I
matter how good you are, no matter how much you do, no matter how much you care, no matter how well you live, you'd have to lose it all. And we're expected to just be hated for it. Is that truly
I
free to live in that world?
I have a different perspective, and it's one that has come through a lot of internal soul searching. And that is the gem at the heart of a mortal life is that it ends.
Why is that a good thing? Why should anyone have to
Change,
die?
change is the necessity to adaptation. Immortals, and I've encountered a few beings that are as close to immortal as can be reasonably had, tend, in my experience, to be increasingly hidebound, meaning their ability to adapt, not necessarily to learn, but to legitimately change, is is stunted the longer they are indeed immortal. You don't have to look a whole lot further than your father. Your father is the blazing sword of a celestial entity. Which one he no longer remembers due to the circumstances here. But he is not he is not capable of altering that any more than water can stop being wet. You used to be a living mortal. You were capable of change. You were capable of falling in love, in being sad, in feeling joy. To one degree or another, all of that change is subsumed by immortality.
It is true. I, as age had worn upon me, there's merit to your words. As age washed over me, so too did it wash away, like you say, happiness and love and regret and guilt and all of those things. I admit when and all that remains is the hunger. But I digress. Drinking your blood, it gave me back anger. It was interesting to feel fire again inside. I've been so cold for so long.
Well,
And
that is perhaps the unique opportunity that you and your brothers have. You have lived perhaps longer than those of your kind should by not having not having sustenance, but by proximity to the gateway door to your source of origin. But by going through that trial and by having an opportunity to reconstitute yourself, there is perhaps a quickening of the soul that is reignited. And I hope for your sake that it is not only anger that you get, but also a degree of calm and introspection, because that is as much a part of passion and joy as everything else.
well, I have certainly received some level of introspection since there's a purity in starvation, I'll admit, but not one I have relished. And you see, he kind of like almost like leans over now. He's kind of like pushing his forehead into like the hard parts of his wrists just for a moment, and then he kind of stands up quickly, and just slowly begins to meander about the room. Um, he the shadows in the room almost seem to kind of retract and twitch with his movements at this point. He says, "It's only it's clarity. It's the distress. I there's the voices I hear, considerations I
You
hear.
are in a difficult situation. You have
Yes,
what your father has taught you, and what you have come to come to take into yourself. But still, we linger in proximity to that door.
Yes.
And based on last night's slumber, or frankly, lack thereof,
Hmm.
I would I would think your brothers as I don't want to say vacant, but
Hmm.
of reduced capacity
Yes.
are probably less taken by the voice from beyond that door. It is an insidious voice and one that you are particularly vulnerable to.
Must imagine. So I must imagine you're right. You seem to be right so much. So helpful. So very helpful. I admit I feel not myself at times here, especially of late. And but you could never imagine the clarity that comes from, especially from your blood. The clarity isn't like anything else uh, ever had before. Perhaps if you were to allow me just to go a little bit more so helpful, I could resume some sense, some clarity. Your words are very helpful, but if I promise I'll be very clean. They wouldn't heave, they wouldn't smell anything. It would be, they wouldn't know. The my siblings. It'd be perfectly safe. And he's sort of there's a little bit of a step forward because I just a couple drops. I can
Certainly, let's go talk with your father.
my father.
Yes, you wouldn't want to hide this from him, would you?
No,
This is not something shameful.
uh, I suppose not. I suppose not.
Maybe it's something you
Make
want to think out.
uh, he kind of you say this, and he kind of over his shoulder, he kind of like almost like hisses at something over his shoulder. I want you to make a persuasion check, but I will have you make it a disadvantage for unseen reasons.
Well, I rolled two 14s, so that'll still give me a 23.
That is very excellent. He goes, no, my, this sort of like does that. He kind of, you're right. I've lived my life, my own life in shame of defeating, but you're right. It's not, it shouldn't, I shouldn't feel ashamed. And my father, he permitted me, he permitted me, initially. He would again, wouldn't he? I can trust him.
Absolutely.
Yes,
He has your best interest in mind.
he does. He
He
does.
has taken care of you and your brothers these long years.
He has. He must. He has. He's been good. He's been good to us. Um, as he's saying these things, he kind of is like wincing. And you almost see like the shadows made by the fire. Um, they almost seem to like react almost to the way he winces. Like there's some kind of correlation between the darkness around him and him, and
And
as you're getting through to him, there's kind of like a
Ember will also
edge.
wave his hand at the fire and control
Okay.
flame and double its brightness.
All right, you've double the brightness. Um, and he kind of hand immediately kind of like shoots up to his head. So he kind of like sort of claws at his forehead. Um, not really noticing the flame itself, but you do notice that it's very subtle. But you've encountered the darkness and the things that creep there enough that you recognize the signs where the receding shadows, almost like fingers, like raking across floorboards in imagery, like almost like sharp shadows, like forced to retreat backward. Um, and Rhevan looks up and he goes, "Yes, yes, let's go find my father. I, I, I miss him. I miss him. I do." And I would say in the increased light, it's again very subtle, but you see these like almost like the veins under his eyes are like a little black here. Um, just maybe a little up the neck a little bit. You don't know if that's a natural vampire thing, but he doesn't look well.
Now, let's go find our host.
All right, yes, you'll you'll follow after you. Um, uh, okay. Um, you walk with him, sort of maybe trailing behind you a little bit. His steps are very quiet, quieter than they should be, but you do hear him back there, and you hear his sort of ragged breath. But to roll me an investigation check to see. I'll give you advantage because you've been here for a minute, and I think you kind of know where your host likes to kind of dwell. So give me an investigation check at advantage to see how quickly you find him.
15.
15. That's it. Um, you probably find him roaming the halls downstairs. You kind of bump into him wherever, sort of moving between wherever he was and wherever he's going. You kind of make it to the end of the hall, so it's kind of like he's at the end of the hall, and you kind of turn the corner to see him, and you've got Rhevan at your side. And he kind of looks up and sees you, and continues to walk towards you with a smile, and he opens his mouth as if to greet you kindly, and then he stops, and his expression very much changes as he hits like a very, you know how adventurers have perfect geometrical sense of the areas around them. So I will say you understand that as he reaches about uh, he's walking down a long hallway. So as he reaches about 120 feet of you, he's like goes to say something and then stops. Um, Not stops walking, but he slows his step and his expression changes as his eyes fix on Rhevan. And then there's just a hesitation. He kind of keeps moving forward, but you see that a tension hits him. And he reaches about 60 feet when he officially says, "Good evening, Ember, Rhevan. Um, how are you two this evening?"
Oh, it's troubling.
At this point, especially as the angel is approaching slowly, you actually start to hear Revan's teeth just very quietly starting to clatter together, almost like he's shivering violently. Not necessarily from cold. Um, and he goes, "I see," and a hand sort of coming up very like calmingly hand from your host goes, "How are you this evening, Revan? You don't look yourself." Rem kind of, "You've only really known me with flesh on my bones for about a day now. Very missing, I perhaps some context. Perhaps this is just what I like. This is what I am. This is the truth of a vampire." And he says, "No, again, it's sort of like this, sort of stepping forward slowly. No, Go ahead.
Would it be possible to bring up the lights? I'm having a difficult time seeing mortal eyes and all.
Your host very quickly says, of course, absolutely. Um, so if you wish to, you kind of find whatever nearby torch sconces and kind of like send him up a bit. And Rhevan again kind of like not really noticing the correlation, but sort of trends. But it definitely like his eyes sort of like if a vampire could sweat, he'd probably be sweating too now. His eyes sort of darting around, and the worry in the angel's eyes growing more and more. But he continues to sort of step forward closer, and he says, "No, I make no mistake. In those early days here, I watched you all very closely. I was aloft and away from the dangers that you pose. You were a very strong warrior, but I witnessed you all, and I knew your nature, and I saw what I still see now, my son, is that you are worthy of something more than what you have been given. Yes, had you ever considered, Father, that you are perhaps beguiled by your loneliness? That you should not trust me. You should not trust my siblings, as the living would never trust us. The only freedom, it's not to be carousing around with the rest of the cattle. It's to be whole again. I digress. We came here because, why did we come here? Why did we come to meet you? I can't recall. I just recall that. And his eyes very much fixed on you. The angel kind of, no, Rhevan, my son, we are not kin in that way. The angel says, no, but you all chose this path. You chose me, and I will be here for you as long as you desire. And Rhevan goes, desire, I desire. You know it. You know what I desire. You know what all my siblings desire. You know how they suffer, how you make us suffer, how we suffer. It's not fair. It's not fair. Um, he says, Rhevan, and Revan's head sort of cranes kind of in your direction, Ember. Is there anything you'd like to input?
I will keep my eyes on the angel and my back to Rhevan.
Okay. If I might ask the reasoning.
I am looking for the impetus to act from the angel.
God.
It
Gods.
also is, if he was following me up the hall, changing that facing would indicate distrust.
Hmm. Okay.
And
Very cool.
I want to maintain. Now, with that said, I will ready an action. Actually, I will ready a reaction, but
Yeah, same thing.
it's same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's hellish rebuke.
Got it. Got it. So you kind of are maybe like a step ahead of him, looking at the angel down the halls. The angel's kind of coming towards you, Revan, sort of just behind your back, and you feel his eyes leering upon you, and you feel yourself in sort of a dangerous situation. But you do hear the angel's voice in your head say, "He's not himself, but have faith."
I do. That's why I'm looking at you.
And he just pays like a knowing smile in your direction that Revan wouldn't have context for. And he looks back to Rhevan. He says, Rhevan, the hunger is yours, but you are not your hunger. You resisted this when you were starved for what I can only assume to be hundreds of years. Your will is mightier than I expect anyone I have ever known, save your siblings. This is not you, my son. You are stronger than this by many miles. Rhevan goes quiet. He goes, the evidence is clear, Rhevan. This is not you. This is a malady of this place. We've confronted these things before. Resist, kind of. You hear the vampiric sort of hiss behind you as the beast kind of rises. And very much like trying to tame a beast, he kind of steps within about. He's probably at like 60 feet now, the angel. Sort of slowing his roll at this point. He says, you are not the curse of vampirism. You are not the hunger. You can resist this. If your siblings can resist this, you certainly can. You are not your hunger. You are not this curse. You are my son. And you
You
chose
can
this.
be the change you seek to be.
Something real quick. You hear behind you the sort of hissing kind of stop, and you hear the same sort of dry thud from you heard from your room, which is the sound of his like wrists kind of bumping into his forehead, roughly. You kind of hear almost like grieving now. He says, "Father, I." He says, "Oh, you can. This place has not whittled you down, and it will not whittle you down now. This is pettiness that has taken you, not you." Um, and uh, you are going to see before you, Ember, the sort of flickering shadows in the light, which seem sharper than they should. You then hear Reva behind you, kind of, and it sort of doubles over with a secondary voice that sort of begins to appear from behind his voice. And it sounds as much as anyone can like a spiritual purging, as if something is being pulled up from the pit of him and being expunged. Um, and in this moment, your lights kind of against your power kind of suckle down just for a second. You feel that cold wind again kind of trail past your ear, sending a shiver down your spine. And as the lights sort of emanate more, you're going to see before you this hunched over, scald, robed figure sort of emanated in sort of like blue ethereal flame, this sort of undeathly spirit that kind of and tell you what, roll me a quick initiative.
11.
11. Uh, in this moment, you are shocked, but not so shocked that you aren't going to be able to react not only before this entity that has just showed up, but also before the angel. So you, if you would wish to do something in this moment, you certainly can.
Uh, yeah. I'm gonna spend. I'm gonna take a a step to a side as necessary, so not to encompass the angel or Rhevan. Uh, and I'm going to spend a sorcery point to uh, transform fire to ice, and I'll I'll intone, in fire be chained, and hit it with Brime's binding ice.
Hell yeah.
Uh,
What's the save?
Con 17.
Con 17. He has magical resistance and legendary resistances. However, his legendary resistances have been whittled down by Rhevan himself in this attempted altercation, and he has a great wisdom modifier and advantage, but he only rolled on the dice a 2 and a 7. So he will fail, despite his modifier.
That'll be 26 points of fire damage, which if he's resistant to, he is not.
Understood.
Uh, and uh, is hindered by the fiery formations for 1 minute or until the creature within utilizes an action to break itself free.
Understood. So yeah, we will say you take this moment as it appears, and in true Ember fashion, the reaction I imagine is less fear and more sort of fury. And in this moment, you pour this exacting flame over your enemy. Um, and it is not the blue balefire of this ethereal dead. It is a vengeful, binding flame that smokes him. And probably as it hits him and his resistance begins to pick up, the flames begin to turn like into yellow and then like into white and then into blue, like as if sharpening like a fuse tor like a torch and just like intensifies in retribution to his resilience to flame, and just sunders through his resistance and binds him to the ground. And we'll say like holy flame, as you got a little holiness going on, Ember. And it. Is there anything you'd like to follow up with in your initiative turn?
Uh, no, that's pretty much it. Other than to then just maneuver myself out of the way.
Understood. You maneuver out of the way. The creature tries to move forward, but it didn't roll as well as the angel. So as he's resisting, he just not a shadow creeps over him, not a large shadow that creeps over him, but in fact a large and just white radiant light that is as intense as your fire brought up to level 10. So this white hot radiant flame brought about by fury. He turns to see the warrior angel Planetar sort of bear over him, his eyes burning with white, furious light, and just him glowing as if his emotion has come to the surface. And he looks down at this spirit and he says, "Return to your master and tell him this. My sons will rise and have rose above what you meant to make them, and know that this has proved nothing but his own pettiness." And he will grab him by the throat, this creature, and he is going to dispel evil and good against the creature and send him hurling back down to hell. The creature, and he does, he like basically like this light funnels through the creature along with your fire, and almost like gravity is increased tenfold in the creature. It immediately falls to the floor and starts falling through the floor like a creature being pulled down into a well, and is ripped out of this plane and back down to the abyss. Um, and the light vanishes from the angel. Rhevan, sort of like on a knee behind, kind of not breathing in exhaustion, but breathing almost in strange sort of like inhalations of like shock of the moment. And you see the Planetar is almost cold in this moment, as if he has put a mighty wall up in himself. And you just hear his voice in your head, Ember. He says, "More than any other person in this palace, it's for you to judge what happens next. What this means."
I will go over to Rhevan, put my hand on his shoulder, and then reach my hand down to offer him a hand up.
Take your hand. You help him up. And he looks at you and he says, much clearer now, not the ragged, bestial whatever was going on, but much clearer now, especially in his eyes. His eyes look a lot clearer. He says, I... I'm sorry. I don't... I don't know what came over me.
You are as in much jeopardy in this place as any of the rest of us, perhaps more so. The sooner we get you and your brothers out of here,
I am honored by you in more ways that you can ever understand, Ember, but why? Why do you continue to have so much faith in me and my brothers?
I have
Beyond
faith
what many
in
would consider sinning.
I have faith in change. I see in you the willingness, the desire to change, to be different, to be modeled in the aspect of your father, as opposed to the aspect, and Ember will gesture towards the portal, your maker. You have chosen a better path. You deserve the opportunity to bring that choice to fruition.
Faith. I think that's something I can understand. And just kind of like, just like a little bow of the head and a nod, and from a creature who is centuries old and whatever, like, out of no amount of arrogance, you are his younger. Um, uh, but he shows you every deference. You can tell in the way he speaks and the way he regards you, in his gesture and his posture and everything. It is with utter thankfulness and disbelief at your compassion to his cause. He doesn't put it to words because it would be a disservice to try to. You get the sense of in him. But as he speaks of faith, he does that gesture and he says, "I know what it is like." That line, I can relate to having faith. And he kind of looks to his eyes, sort of turn to his father, but he won't meet his father's eyes. He goes, "Father, please forgive my weakness." And then in a moment of just unnatural speed, of divine speed, the angel's just like around Rhevan and just like hugs his son intensely. Um, and somewhat, and Rhevan just kind of like, he weeps tears of blood that burn down his cheeks, literally burn down his cheeks. You see, as if what blood is in his veins does carry some divine power, and singes him. Um, Aesthetics are crazy. Just aesthetically speaking, not to pat myself on the back or anything, but um, and as they sort of retract, Rhevan says, you can tell there's a lot going on here, but um, the angel says, "You both honor me. You, Rhevan, my first reborn son, and you, Ember, who have taken up our cause. I wish for you to know that you will have my trust for all of time. If not for your faith, for your willingness to have it, and not the I will not sully this moment with more words, only to say thank you.
You are both entirely and eternally welcome.
Let us have rest, I think, all of us. Um, and uh, yeah, they'll kind of show you to your room together. There is a quiet, malign tension. Angel will say, he'll kind of just be a company, but before you go to your room, Rhevan will say, I I have no right to ask this, and I you have every right to. In fact, you probably should, but will you share this with your friends?
Indeed, once we get over the hurdle for Yvaine in the morning,
Of course, of course, and you should. And you look at someone who is grappling with honor and what is right, and the selfish want to protect either himself or his brothers or both. Um, and he just nods at you and smiles genuinely. And he will bow to you again with great respect, and he will leave you. The angel just smiles at you with a lightness and respect that you know says all it can possibly say, and there aren't words that he can share to do justice to how he truly feels. And he said as much that if you needed anything, you could call on him. You have his trust, and he will depart.
and once they're gone, I'll pull my door closed. I'll take out Red's flask. I'll have Red come out. I take the ring off. I put the ring in Red's hands. That corner, way the fuck up there. And
Very fair.
it's right.
Very fair. Please take inspiration, Ember. That was a great scene. Um, that was a great scene. Well done, sir. Well done. That could have gone very differently. Um, but it went very well instead. Incredible. All right. You all get a long rest. Um, Yin, thanks to the power of Dreamwalk. Because I'm pretty sure Dreamwalk says that it says that you can control events, or you're just aware if events are being shifted around you.
Um, it says that you are aware that you are dreaming and that you are capable of lucid dreaming. It's sort of the way it reads is sort of like the more you do it, the better you get at it. But if you don't ever do it,
Hmm.
if something's coming at you, it might be more difficult. Like
But it does,
it's a little bit vague in that regard.
yeah. I think it does say like you're a
Yeah,
lucid dreamer, but if someone
yeah,
is influencing dreams, you're aware of it, but not necessarily able
yeah.
to control it. Okay. I will say this then. Because Yvaine has been pretty constant in casting this on you guys, at least probably a dozen, if not more times by now, I imagine. I'm going to say that you all are very lucid. You all become very aware that your dreams are being manipulated. But by the power of your lucidity and how much Yvaine has put this protection on you, you're lucid enough to see what is being presented and, turn around and like walk away from the dream if you would choose to. Or if in your lucidity you would want to try and do anything specific inside of these illusions being brought to you in your dreams, let me know. I'm seeing a lot of no's from the peanut gallery. All right, so then we will proceed onward from there. Um, you all wake up with a long rest, dodging, not having, but dodging uh the terrors of the night in your dreams. And you wake up refreshed and long rest, but maybe feeling a little like you've been doing some mental exercises in your dreams. It hasn't been been like it's been a physically restful sleep, and you're gonna get all your stats back, but maybe in your brain you're like, I feel like I just came out of like a math exam or like a study hall after like preparing for like finals or something, you know? Um, a little bit of mental exhaustion, exertion, I might say, not exhaustion. But you all wake up. The day has come. Yvaine, you wake weirdly, perhaps, to see the last time with this eye, or to wake with this eye for the last time. Um, or not. There's powers to bring that back if you decide that you don't want the vestige anymore at some point. You know, whatever. But nonetheless, there is a sort of, I find that there's a strange finality or a strange feeling when you awaken on an important day. Maybe even a surgery day if anyone has had the misfortune to require a major surgery. Um, so yeah, you awaken in this dark place. What would you all like to do? As usual, you could go and sort of have some breakfast in the hall. The angel is certainly not forcing you guys to do anything. You can take this at your own pace.
Well, I would like to have a discussion. I don't know how I'm feeling about breakfast before the operation. Just
Ah,
I prefer to
Yeah,
eat
that's probably wise.
afterwards if we eat it all this morning.
I, I, I just don't think she'd have much of an appetite, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
understood. That is, I guess, fair. Yeah, you all sit down to eat, and maybe Elaine looks down at um, her hard-boiled egg. Goes,
Yes, it's a happy.
uh, Happy's like, um, happily cleans up your plate. So, for your benefit, purely, of course.
I mean, at some point she's going to have to say, all right, I know you hate it here. I'm about to have my eye cut out so we can go home. Did, did you want to go away, Jules? You don't have to stay here for this, love.
To who?
I'll say that to Happy.
Oh, to Happy.
Yeah, I'm going to
Happy
give her a
just
drop.
like
She doesn't.
looks at you. That looks a little perplexed, and looks at the door, and back at you. Looks at you like you're crazy, as if to say like, "I'm not fucking missing this."
Oh, well, he's okay. Okay, I just just trying to be sensitive.
And gives you a little Almirage nod. Um, but the sick little bunny doesn't seem uh like they have any intention of missing the event. Um, you're like, yeah, it's definitely because of you're morally supporting me, right? And this isn't some kind of twisted fey fascination for you, right? Right? Right.
Oh, look, it's a bucket of non-answer.
Yeah, yeah. The bunny just smiles at you in its mute way. You wouldn't be taking some kind of weird satisfaction from this, right?
He's like,
Yeah. Little R tag in there. You can't die. Really? Is that real? Can we test it? All right, cool. Um, I will say the angel will arrive, and he will say, "Good morning, everybody. Um, today's the day. We
today is the day. I'm so glad that I don't have to do this myself.
Today's the day we all get to leave this place. You get to get what you came for, and much good will come of it. In no small thanks to all of you who underwent my trials and had patience with me and my sons, and there will be no small thanks to whoever of you decides to proceed, as I'm sure you've all learned the toll by now. As you can probably imagine, my sons are very excited to leave this place, as am I. With that said, their need for willpower, the extreme willpower that has been required of them, is coming in near to its end. And as I think some of you know, when temptation is nearing its end, it seems to somewhat heighten. Uh, for whatever reason. When this is done, I will ask that perhaps it is done behind closed doors, perhaps in the antechamber in which I keep the vestige itself, so as to quarantine off any uh,
I was hoping there was
smells.
a way to do no harm. I, it's this must be done, but there's no reason anyone else should suffer.
I hope you understand.
No, of course, of
The
course.
Yes, much is being asked of my sons, and much has been achieved by them, but there is only so much they could take. So, I will do all I can to ensure that this is quarantined off, and we will do it in the antechamber where it is most airtight. Very well. Um, I will be at your disposal whenever you require of me.
I do have a question.
Of course.
Is there a potential I could borrow a book that is about 25 gold pieces range of expense? There's a certain thing we're trying to do with the eye that I need a book and it needs to be a little bit expensive.
Okay. I am more than happy to show you to the library so long as
I
there's
have
no
a
risk
book.
of it being. Oh,
But
okay.
Or that just need
I
an expensive book from somebody.
I have a book. I can.
understood. I admittedly, at
Yeah.
no point in my life have interacted with human economy very intensely, so I'm not sure what that would even look like. So thank you, Yvaine.
Yes. But that's
Very
all.
well. I will leave you to your breakfast. We will be about.
What's the outcome for the book, Drysrinn, if I may ask? Will it be consumed?
Not to my knowledge. I will be kind of drawing on knowledge from past spirits of a skill to hopefully help, but I think I just need to have the book potentially of the knowledge of that skill. I'm unsure. It just says a
I
book.
think you'll want this one. And Ember will present the surgical manual bound in. I'm really pretty certain it's human skin.
No. Uh, maybe. It just feels like normal leather. Kinda. A little. If you really convince yourself of it.
I'm not going to think about the similarities of what my claws have been through. Anyway, okay.
Oh,
Yep.
don't
Mm-hmm.
worry. This feels a lot more like dry and tougher than what your claws have been through. Oh, yeah.
Small mercies.
I love that our mighty, incredibly amazing monk is so squeamish.
She hates it, dude.
I don't
All
know.
of
I don't
this,
know if it's
she
She
hates
has
it.
true.
wrought horrors, but she's so squeamish. I had to.
I In this moment, you notice that Drysrinn never actually touches anybody when she fights. She sends little bolts of lightning out to do it for her. Uh, and maybe there's like a germaphobe thing going on there behind the scenes. Who knows? Nah, I'm kidding. And I also don't think it's fair to call someone squeamish for not wanting to handle like
It's
tanned
just every
human
time
skin.
we go underground, things go bad when she touches it.
Yeah,
No more.
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I give you a phobia of touching the skin of the dead?
Wait,
Weirdly
scared.
specific. You should talk to your
Anything
priest.
in the dark tunnels doesn't get touched with bare hands.
Y'all need
Mm-mm.
cord. Y'all need cord. All right. You bear this distressingly skin tone colored leather bound book and open it up to find the pages wrote um, in a dark, almost like blackish reddish ink of very, very descriptive diagrams, very clinical diagrams of different when you're like, okay, liver removal, heart removal, why would anyone need that? Skin removal off of rib cage, eyeball removal. There we are. Excellent, excellent. And it's very descriptive. Like it shows like like layers of skin peel back and like little diagram of like an incision. You're like, we're not doing any incisions. And like the eyeball, and it shows like it inside like the actual. And it's very, very clinically descriptive, very visually descriptive, and it'll provide advantage for whoever's doing the scooping.
Drysrinn reading the book like,
The angel goes, I don't know if I've said it before, and I know this is my home technically, but if I haven't before, I just want to give a general apology for this place I live in.
Not your fault. It's
I feel
okay.
like
Not your
I'm
fault.
I know it isn't my fault, but I feel like you're just owed an apology from somebody. Might as well be
oh,
me.
that's so kind. Thank you so much. No, that's really lovely.
Great. Good. Okay, let's
I
okay.
got this.
And Yvaine will put out her Skinner's tools, and these were the nice ones that she had handcrafted for her and Lyrengorn. Uh, so all of the tools that Drysrinn read about to do all of those things, yeah, there they are in
Beverly's
front of
like,
you.
huh, huh.
So the spell specifically says you draw on knowledge from spirits of the past. Choose one skill in which you lack proficiency. For the spell's duration, you have proficiency in the chosen skill. I technically don't have proficiency in medicine, so
That
that's the skill I want to add it to.
that sounds like a winner to me.
Beverly's like, we
It'll
don't
be
need this relic
plus
that
7.
bad, do we? Do we really need this that bad? Yeah, we okay. We do. We do.
It
We do.
makes it a
I don't
plus
know.
7 though, so
Hold still. I've never done this. Um. Okay.
Well,
And Drysrinn also would have good uh, dexterity, I would think.
Yeah.
she does.
Although so does
She
Ember,
has a
Oh,
so.
plus.
this is going to be a skill challenge to perform the surgery. So there will be multiple factors involved. Yes, dexterity and sleight of hand will be one of them. Absolutely. Are we doing this? Is it time? Is it
we 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 we
deorbing?
might as well go.
All
Part
right.
of the pre-op process is I'm gonna use
Who's got the
shape
hold
water
person?
to to create some ice.
All right. Well, ice.
We're gonna need
Got it.
hold person.
As Zarbol's not here to speak for himself, but every part of me wants to be like, I can't do it. It's gonna be sick. I'm gonna be sick. He runs off. No, I'm sure he's there holding your hand. Yeah.
Could he do
Um,
it? Because the spells that we wanted, I can't do whole person with if we do both
Well,
wild
yeah, you got
knowledge
enough
and
to
enhance.
concentrate on.
It,
if
it,
if
Wild knowledge isn't concentration, but enhanceability is.
Hmm.
that's fine. You handle the two pieces for you, and uh, I'll go bully Alistair into into doing the whole person.
Uh, okay, yeah, you find out. You find Alistair, who is just, I don't know, somewhere, talking with his blood hunters, we'll say. He goes, "Oh, this is my favorite person in the world. What can I do for you?"
Your assistance is requested.
I
It
see.
is time for surgery, and I'm assuming you can still a mortal body.
I most certainly can.
We have need.
He almost like looks up and his lips kind of move a little bit, like he's saying a quiet prayer. And this will effectively be him like preparing his spell slots this morning, or his spells this morning. He'll look to his blood hunters and give them some nods, and he'll say, "Sooner we do this, the sooner we can get out of here, I suppose." Very well.
Indeed.
I also, of course, have whatever healing and clerical abilities that would also be required, so I can do more than just the holding. Um, let's do this. Very well. Um, you guys are all brought into the antechamber of where all of you get to see the vestige for the first time. All of you. This like beautiful, beautiful circlet carved and built by hands that could not be by mortal instruments. Uh, it is it is not grand, but it is ornate in a way that is immortal. Um, and it is beautiful and it is good. And there are, and even in its design, there are just like ever so slightly the hints of darkness about it, of its original origins. But altogether a thing of good. You are laid down. I think Yvaine probably, uh, I'll say the angel moves, picks up the vestige with some reverence and moves it to um, basically out of the way. And the long altar will essentially serve as your surgery bed. He will say, "Just in case, if it works for all of you, I am going to stand outside the door. We're going to take every precaution, but I just want to be sure."
By all means. Thank you.
Well, he'll put a hand on your shoulder, Yvaine, and he'll smile. And he will say, "Go forth. You are a magnificent mortal as I've ever met." He nods. And he will go. And the doors will. Is there anybody who would not want to be in the chamber with this whole situation? Is there anyone who would have a mind to be outside the chamber? Just checking, making sure.
Nope.
Nope. Okay, we're all in the antechamber. Fair enough. Um, okay, you all sort of make your way in. The blood hunters do not. Beverly and Camellia are here. Beverly's in the corner going, probably like this out the whole time. Like, can't look away from the train wreck. Like, she's trying to, but she can't. Camelia's literally like this. Like in the corner. But it seems that Jorik and Pellenbrill remain outside alongside the angel. And Alistair is within. You'll.
Beverly,
Oh, go ahead, you may.
can I ask something of you, Beverly?
She goes, "Yes, yeah, whatever you want. What can I do?"
When they start, could you pray to the Moonweaver for me?
Of course, of course, absolutely.
Thank you.
Um, Alistair, as you're laid there, puts a hand on your shoulder. He goes, "What are you fretting about? You've got two of them." And he gives you a little cheeky smile and a wink. Um, and he'll say, "Well, take a last look at my beautiful figure before you don't get to anymore with that one."
You were magnificent.
How nervous everyone is. And because Bev's gonna have to pray anyway, Shiro's gonna walk over and she's gonna hold Yvan's hand in one of her hands and then just kind of like grab onto Bev's shoulder just cause like and she's gonna cast Calm Motions because she has that spell, and I forget it all the time.
Hey,
But
that's wonderful.
it's everyone in a 20-foot circle sphere that I
Yeah,
choose. But
that'll
they can
hit. Yeah,
everyone can choose. It's a save, but you can choose to fail the save.
yeah.
I choose to fail. I choose to
Understood.
succeed.
In this moment, all of you feel this wash of calm come over you, but Yvaine, I think most potently you will feel it. All of you in your own way, but you most potently, Yvaine. It is all of you have entered into mortal combat, and sometimes for, sorry to say, very stupid reasons like money, or spite or interest, and because of this, all of you, at least at times, have felt this. And what washes over you, Yvaine, you know comes directly from the divine, as Kuro's power is a proxy to the divine. It is the resigned acceptance of end and loss and even death. It is that sort of like, yeah, I'm gonna lose something, I'm gonna die, and it sucks, and it's just the acceptance and the washing away of fear over permanent end and loss, which is a crazy thing to experience, but it happens, and it happens to you. And you know where this comes from most potently. Kuro does by knowledge. The rest of you just feel calm. I don't think you feel the deepness of where this calm stems from. Um, and Beverly will very seriously and not emotionally start praying to the Moonweaver, and will pray out loud. Um, she will speak prayers along the lines of, Moonweaver, it is your starlight, it is your moonlight that brights the darkness, and there is such darkness in this world, such as the fears and the demons and the horrors that come at night that make us tremble, but it is your light in the darkness that is hope in and of itself. Let us be filled with hope and understanding that there is more in the darkness than just the dark things. There is goodness. There is the trysts of young lovers finding their way to each other when maybe they shouldn't be. There is the moon itself that allows the farmer to farm his fields and meet the bounty that he needs in order to pay for his family and keep his home warm and his hearth great. Let this be what pours over us now, the cool but ever-present moonlight that gives us hope and faith in the dark. Let that come to us now in these darkest of places. Let this fuel your devoted Yvaine, who always is called to your advice and embodies your power. Let she feel your gentle light now, here in these dark times. And these will go on very sweetly, very earnestly. These just sort of litanies. She may be struggling with her paladinhood, but her knowledge of the divine is excellent, and she speaks of the gentle, hopeful light of silver, of stars and moon that Yvaine has embodied since these adventures have begun. Um, and between the calm emotions in that, Yvaine, it's up to you, of course. It's your character to roleplay, but perhaps you feel ready.
That is what I was hoping for.
With that matter, um, Yvaine or Alistair will say a quiet prayer to the Raven Queen, um, and say, "Let her do no harm to herself more than what need be done, for she does not know what she does." And in that moment, will enact through that prayer a whole person. Yvaine, your body will go stiff like the grave, like rigor mortis, like your limbs go numb, like you just can't move, like you're at the borderlines between life and death. But you're cool with it because your emotions are just accepting of these kinds of things in this moment. And then comes the knife. And we'll resolve that once we come back from our break. There we are. All right. So, welcome, Drysrinn, to your first surgery. You are certainly the most qualified person to be doing this. All right, let's see what we will be up to. So, First and foremost, there's going to be 3 checks that you're going to have to perform to do this successfully. I'm not setting a DC specifically. It is going to be sort of leveled at, depending on how well you roll, how well it's going to go. So there's obviously going to be a medicine check. There's obviously going to be a sleight of hand check. Sleight of hand. And I'm going to say your medicine check will have advantage because you have the book. So that's going to just be advantage because you have the book to reference. Are you proficient with medicine or sleight of hand?
Neither.
Okay, that will affect things.
Well, you are
using
with medicine right now.
now because the spell borrowed knowledge lets me have proficiency now. So I do now have in medicine. Sleight of hand is the one I don't. Yes, but I was going to do enhance ability on dexterity, hopefully.
Excellent.
So it gives me advantage.
Absolutely. And there is going to be a third check I am going to ask from you, and that's just going to be insight, because that's just about intuition beyond technicalities, essentially. What is your... 7. Excellent. Are you proficient with insight?
That's what it is, yeah.
Okay. So you are, by whether it be by your own talents or by spell, you are proficient with medicine, you are proficient with insight. Okay, excellent. You have advantage on medicine check going into it. Where would you like to throw your enhance ability? Like, what would you like to put that on? I would recommend either dexterity or wisdom, because those are your 2 other checks.
Dexterity. My wisdom's better. I can deal with my wisdom. Dexterity's.
Understood. Is there anything else that needs to be accounted for before I start asking for rolls? Yes, Yvaine.
The guidance. Where do we want the guidance?
I'll leave that up to Drysrinn.
Yeah, so technically, I should be able to roll for a cosmic omen, which is a reaction. If I may roll.
I'll allow it, yeah.
Because, like, she doesn't have to do anything. It doesn't have any components. Yes. Yes, it is wield today. That never happens. Thank you, Dice.
All right.
Yes, it was even.
I am going to allow you to perform your reaction right now to perform a wheel. This is a little bit of an exception to the rule, but you, I promise, will be way too occupied to be performing any sort of actions of any kind during the moment. So would you like to provide, where were you providing wheel now preemptively? This is solely your decision, because Drysrinn doesn't have the power of foresight, you do, so you have to decide where it's going. That's my only trade-off to everything. Insight, you said?
Sleight of hand.
Sleight of hand, got it. Why don't you roll that now?
Okay. Come here, please, you silly dice, you. 6.
Excellent. All right. You are held by Alistair. Is there anything else that needs to be accounted for before we proceed?
Where would you like the guidance? It's only a D4, but it's something.
I believe she said sleight of hand. I think that was the general interest, unless you're muted if you're talking.
It's changed now.
That's fine.
Now that I have already have help on the sleight of hand, if it could go to the actually the medicine.
Sure. Oh yeah. You want to roll that now, Cedric? I'll let Cedric roll the D4.
2.
All right, +2. Oh yeah. Anything else to be accounted for before we proceed? All right. In this room, that is not at all sterile. But we don't care about that. We got healing magic. Drysrinn, you ready? Dr. Drysrinn, you ready to proceed?
Let's go.
Okay, this is what happens before I ask for any rolls to start. Yvaine is under the influence of held person. You get the nod from Alistair, essentially say, begin, because his will last for a minute, and you're going to want to use every moment of that minute you can, because regardless of what Yvaine you think you want, the lizard part of your brain that says having a knife stuck in my eye is bad, and your body and your subconscious are going to take over and try and resist all of this against logic, against reason. You are very wise, uh, but you're not a barbarian. You're not some fucking wild, insane barbarian who's like, yeah, fuck it, or like, lost a finger, whatever. You are a druid. Okay, so here's what happens. Drysrinn, the moment you stick this, luckily enough, because I believe it was said that you have a very specific tool, a specific kind of knife built for this, which is very fortunate, and I will be taking into account with DCs. The moment that goes in, probably the moments before. Well, actually, no, you know what? Yvaine's had all these enchantments put on her. She's all at ease. This is as close to anesthesia as you're getting. She's all cool. They like the fucking knife is like an eighth of an inch from her eye, and she's like, yeah, whatever. But the moment that blade pierces your eye, it goes through. There is the horrible, stomach turning, mind reeling, white hot pain, and your brain exploding with, "Hey, conscious Yvaine, you fucked up. We're taking over." And the subconscious is like, "We're getting the fuck out of here." So here's what I'm gonna have you do, just to see if this all goes well enough. I'm gonna just have Yvaine roll me an advantage wisdom saving throw to break free of hold person to try and get the fuck off of this table. So roll that now. You're very good at
Okay.
this.
I'm very, very good at this.
You are. And you will have. I'm giving you advantage because this is better than just having you roll 10 times until you get it.
Um, well, yeah, that's 15. With advantage, it's 15 plus 9. I'm
Yeah. Um, okay, so she's definitely gonna break free. I want you to roll me one more without advantage. And this is for Alistair's attempt to reapply the spell after you resist, where he's basically going to cast the spell and every round he's just going to start blasting through spell slots, going like hold action, hold person, hold action, hold. Oh, he can't do that because he's got
okay.
conditions, right?
Okay, that's a 5 plus 9, 14.
Okay, that is good. That is very good news. So this is what's going to happen. Uh, Alistair, basically the blade goes in. Yvaine screeches in a howling pain at top of her lungs. We'll say maybe one round because you have such a good wisdom saving throw bonus. Manages to resist the instinct to fight back, and then completely just the animal part of your brain boils over. And Alistair's like, she's one stubborn fucking bitch. And then you like and then before you can really start flailing, he like re-grabs you the second hold person. So you're like if any of you seen the one the X-Men movie where Wolverine goes into the past and there's that moment where he like flails around and cuts Kitty Pryde and then Magneto like re-puts him back on the ground. It's pretty much like that where Yvaine's arms like go up. I want you to make a wisdom saving throw, Drysrinn, to maintain focus when that happens. But then Alistair pretty much just like re-solidifies his hold over Yvaine, and she doesn't get out afterward. Would you get Drysdale?
8, no, 17.
Excellent. This hand, like Yvaine's hand comes up and like hits your elbow and like hits the side of your face. It's nothing damaging, or it's just a flail, like it's nothing, but certainly enough to have taken your focus away. But you are just like dead lasered in, it like hits you, and you just kind of like pause and like keep going. So you don't flip out or jump or lose your focus and botch anything. With that said, the procedure will go well as far as restraining Yvaine goes and Drysrinn's focus in any upsets with that, which is great. Now we come to the rolls themselves to sort of finally determine how well this procedure goes. Drysrinn, let you make me a medicine check. You have advantage, and you have a +2 from guidance.
I rolled
Okay,
on the die.
you rolled a what?
I rolled a 19 on the die.
Hey, well, crit fish.
I have a +3. I have proficiency, so that's 7. And then I have the +2. That's a +9. 28.
A 28 is that's world, and with your proficiency on top of it, that is as best as anyone can ask for from someone who is this is way more than anyone could ever ask for from someone who has no experience with medicine. And it literally is gaining the power of medicine through like a divine funnel of experience, essentially, or a magical funnel of experience. So this is incredible. This is a really, really, really good result. Sleight of hand. Go ahead. You have an advantage. You have a +6 on top of your modifier. Yvaine said, "There's going to be a moment where I flail, and you."
Another 19!
Oh, fuck! Good job. So that's going to be
+4 for myself.
That's a 29.
6.
That's a 29. There's a Yvaine, before she laid down, she said, she like grabbed your arm. She said, "There's going to be a point where I flail, and you like basically like carve open my cheekbone. Be careful for when I flail." And that gives you a +6 to this. So when she batters you, you were like ready for it, and you like basically like carefully removed the knife in preparation for getting battered in the head, and then it stopped, and then you continued to proceed. So that's excellent. Now, last but not least, I need an insight. This is your instincts for the procedure. This is your gauge of how to be a good surgeon, past knowledge, past the steadiness of your hand.
17.
17 is very good. 17 is very good. And fitting, I think. It is really good, but maybe matches Drysrinn, who doesn't have like a doctor's, a surgeon's instincts. So very good, but not in the extremes of the other roles. But thanks to the power of multiple divine enchantments, this goes really good. Now, you're not a world-class surgeon. Like, plain and simple. You're not coming out of here. She's not coming out of here unmarked. Like, it's not gonna be like, oh, there's just someone just popped out now. It's gonna be fine. I would feel like you're gonna need like expertise in medicine to have like achieved that, because it's just, you know. But with that said, 27, 29, incredible rolls. This is really important. Yvaine comes out of it with functional eyelids, which is really good news, because that means that like even if she doesn't have an eye patch on or anything, it's just gonna look like the eyelid kind of like fallen back because there's no volume behind it, and it isn't just gonna be like an open gaping or like sliced up fucked up thing. So at the end of the day, you definitely slice into her like orbital like bone, like around a couple here, just like little nicks, nothing crazy, and nothing that anyone's gonna see, so it'll have no aesthetic impact. It probably doesn't feel great for Yvaine. She probably, I imagine Yvaine being Yvaine and her fuck you attitude for life. I imagine for the first 6 seconds, it's like, holy fuck screaming, and then the next 6 seconds are like, yeah, I'm not fucking joking, get me out of here. And then the rest of it is basically just the most horrific slurring insults you've ever heard. Uh, everyone comes out of there stunned less because of the surgery. Because Drysrinn probably performed very professionally, it wasn't like a massacre or a bloody, horrible mess or anything. It was about as refined as you could expect. People, yeah, you probably come out of this, people are more shocked, like, good heavens. I didn't know half those stores existed. Goodness me. Warranted, but my lord. My sensibilities. Um, uh, the angel just explodes from not kidding. Um,
Zarval would be proud.
yeah, so I'm always like, yeah, that's my girl. And everyone else is like, Beverly's like, I learned some new words today. I'm not happy that I did though. And basically Yvaine's gonna come out of it with a really uh Yvaine, you come out of it and I don't want to speak for Drysrinn, but it's too funny. Just like your eyeballs put in your hand. I'm kidding. That's probably not the best. Maybe not. This is entirely up to you guys at this point. So the surgery comes to an end. Yvaine, your jaw hurts. I'll tell you what. If Drysrinn rolled well enough, she would have thought to have stuck something leather in your mouth. So you can bite your own tongue off or damage your teeth. Per the 28, she'll be like, wait. Yeah, give me a leather strip. Give me, and like everyone's like, okay, great. And like that was, woo. So Yvaine comes out of it. Yvaine, your teeth hurt from having bitten down so hard. Um, your jaw muscles hurt. You are pale and like exhaust. Like you did. I'll say from your. Give me a con save. Let's see if you passed out. Less from the pain, just more like the pain plus the shock of everything.
To be clear, I was hoping to have passed out. However, it was a 17 on the dice, and so it'll be a dirty 20. She's a sturdy little thing.
Unfortunately, you guys are powerful, skilled adventurers who have confronted violence and what that does to your body before. And Yvaine, you do not pass out, but you come out of it. Not that you couldn't fight if you hypothetically needed to, because you're used to fighting under strain, as is everybody here. But Yvaine comes out of it looking a little pale, no small amount of sweat. Your jaw and your teeth are sore. Your voice is immediately hoarse from like just guttural throat screeching. Um, and worst of all, your eyeball stings like a motherfucker. But thanks to Ember's preparations of ice, we immediately stick some ice in that motherfucker, which does not feel good either. But it will begin to dull the pain.
I'll quickly cast a healing word. It's not much, but it's what I can do.
Excellent. I will say between that and I'll say Alistair throws a cure wounds on it too. I was gonna give you some piercing. I was probably like at the end of the day, if you're interested, I was gonna give you like 4, like not even that, honestly, probably like because it was done really, really well. Like if this was a commoner, Drysrinn's patient would have survived. There was no unnecessary poking, so I'd say probably like 1 damage. But it's the psychic damage that is probably a lot because psychic damage is like momentary crazy fucking trauma damage is essentially what that is. So you probably took a good amount of it, but I will say we don't need to roll and then re-roll and all that shit. I'll say between Cedric's healing word and maybe a slightly more juiced up roll from Alistair with his last spell slot funnels into you enough healing that you're like the throbbing in your brain just eases, and the pain in your eye is still there, but the wounds close, and procedure is a success. Successful enough that the eyeball came out largely only minorly lacerated here and there, but largely. Well, actually, let's be honest. You were using a knife. You weren't using anything as a scoop, right? So that blade was going somewhere, and you weren't carving into her head. So I gotta say, I think that eyeball's kaput. um, you're using a knife and not a scoop. As weird as that sounds. But there are little pieces of it left, I would say. You didn't just like scramble it and scoop it out. You kind of got it out like that, but that would have left it damaged. Naturally. It was the right tool for the job, but it wasn't the right tool to keep the eye intact, unfortunately.
If there's a way to, I don't know. Is it even worth putting in a brazier with some incense for you?
Um, you receive your answer pretty instantly by a feeling. You feel a sensation that you have felt many times before. You feel the sensation of something trying to attune to you. And you kind of look over your shoulder, and while the relic is not floating or doing anything exceptional, you do feel this very gentle pull, that pull of attunement, essentially acceptance of attunement, if you would wish to.
Yeah, she'll. I mean, I don't know if anyone has ever undergone any kind of minor surgery with minimal anesthetics, but no matter how localized it is, your whole body feels like it's on fire. Like
Oh yeah.
it doesn't have to be your legs for you to feel like you just don't have the strength to walk.
Yeah.
So she'd probably like try to grab onto Zar to
Yeah.
hobble over in that direction.
Yeah, I would say that, and it's an excellent point. I would say that sensation would probably be like the psychic damage, right? Where because let's be honest, that sensation comes from the mind. Um, so I'll say this: if you wished to, I mean, it's whatever flavor you want. I don't want to get in the way of your flavor, but if you wished to, you could be as vital as you need to be.
And she would get up and go over, pick it up,
You put it
put it
on
on.
your brow. Um, Hell yeah. Put it on your head. I feel like so this is what's gonna happen. This is what's gonna happen. You put it on your brow, and as you do so, this is the most powerful thing you've ever tried to attune to, by far. It is not overwhelming, but it does fill you with like a confidence almost. And you begin to submit yourself to the binding of you to this item, to becoming one with it. And this item, though not a conscious item, has a will of its own, and a will to bind to not just like whatever cosmic force constitutes attunement, but a binding to to like who you are, which is what probably separates a vestige from a normal legendary item. As this happens, or begins to happen, the demiplane begins to sort of rumble, almost like as if you were inside the throat or the stomach of a deeply agitated something. And in your minds, you're all going to hear the same deathly voice. If I do not have this toy, then neither shall you keep your pets. and almost like this entity sort of almost like protruding an essence of something that living beings are not meant to endure. This wave of blood curdling energy is going to just writhe past the entire demiplane. Um, I need everybody to make a con save. Let me know what you get when you got it.
You go first. 10.
Got it.
14.
Got it.
19.
20.
You you two will be okay. Yvaine?
Evie had a 9, and she's going to use her cosmic omen. Oh, okay, so that is another 6 for 15, which probably isn't enough, but whatever. I'll mark it off.
Yep. So you're good. Um,
Oh,
sorry, what was the total?
15.
Oh, 15. No, you're not
No,
good. Sorry,
that
I
doesn't
missed.
sound right.
I think I just had a moment of instinct where I'm like, oh, Yvaine rolled a saving throw. Great, she succeeds. Um,
Uh,
she's pretty good at those. So Ember, so Kiro and Cedric, it is very uncomfortable, but your bodies are built to go out and fight and be strong and whatnot. So you largely get past whatever was meant to happen, but you look, and Beverly does as well. Similarly, her body sort of being built up to be good for constitution and strong. But Alistair, Yvaine, Ember, Drysrinn, who are not built for such intense constitution, um, are going to begin to bleed out of their eyes. Their nose are going to start to bleed. Blood will come out of their ears. They'll spit up a little blood on their chests. Those of you who have any shade barrow sort of slashed wounds, this isn't a tremendous amount of blood to be clear, but this is like it just starts to run down your arm, like as if the wounds had opened, almost as if you're like crying blood and like a normal nosebleed. There's like a splutter, like not like a actual anything with volume, but a splatter. Like someone with like cancer, like how they might cough into their rag and it might be like a little splatter. It's like that. Your ears kind of run as if your eardrums burst, but they didn't. Um, each of you is going to take, unless for whatever reason you are resistant or immune to necrotic damage, which I don't believe any of you are. Um, you're all going to take 20 points of necrotic damage. Um, and you are not going to be able to stop the bleeding too well. It's not going to continue to damage you. The damage has been done, but just it'll continue to go. And as this goes, there's a delay. This room is airtight. Actually, there's two humans outside. Pretty much immediately as this wave goes on, you all look at each other and start to bleed. Maybe have this moment of like, oh no. There is this like desperate hissing howl of almost like something undead in horrible like psychological pain. And then just feral release as you hear however many dozen present vampires begin to charge. And you hear the angel's voice. He goes, please, no, no! And then you hear like what you can only imagine is his frame hitting the door on the other side with the sheer force of the wave of his sons coming. And in that desperate moment, Your attunement process is going to be very unique, Yvaine, and may influence events. Time fractures like a fist moving through a glass pane. Just like a spider web. And in those shards of glass, you see Hero, Drysrinn, Alistair, Ember, the Angel, Rhevan, Cedric. Every one of your party was present. The Angel himself, and then every face of every what you imagine, they all look the same, but every face of the undead vampire. And you understand that this is the face of everybody who exists on this demi-plane in this moment. And then the glass sunders, and your consciousness extends to somewhere, something beyond the material. Maybe you're inside the vestige. Maybe the vestige has taken you to something spiritually external. But you find yourself not in a physical place any longer. I'm going to change up the music because I feel like we're...
I mean, it doesn't not work, I should tell you. You've
Good to
got
hear.
good vibes, so I'm not complaining.
Excellent. Love to hear it. I love to hear it. Okay, so I'm just going to take a little roll call really quick. We got it. Yeah, okay. It's gotta be. Okay. Yvaine. You find yourself standing before the gates of Vasselheim. You walk in like a dream where you're lucid to some extent, but you just kind of find yourself moving. And it's like a dream where it's like you're like, oh, I didn't fully make that decision, but it's also kind of what I would expected to do. The city's on fire. Buildings are on fire. People run for cover, but you keep walking through as you just absorb what's going on. It's almost like people don't quite notice you. Specifically, you're in the Dusk Meadow. You're in the domain of the Raven Queen, or her district anyway, and all of the beautiful sort of black celebratory buildings are on fire. You see that there are people running for cover. These priestesses, the ones that were black and veiled that you saw going around, the grave seers and so on and so forth, they move through the street, flailing their arms and screaming as they are fully on fire. And as you move deeper and past this, the fire has this isn't just fire. This is anger. This fire has anger and intention and fury to it, and it's alive. Like the flame explodes out of windows like a great beast ready to devour. Consumes whole homes greedily in retribution. As you move deeper into the district, you find yourself stopping and looking upon the only thing that matters. Everything in your vision has been black and white, other than the flame. The flame itself has all of its yellow and orange and red. In fact, probably more red than not, like rage. And standing in the center is the only individual who has any color in him. And you see Ember. You see Ember looking around the district. He himself is on fire. but the flames that wreath around him are in service, not in not in like consuming anger. They are angry, but they're by his command. Ember himself looks like the kid who got caught, like the person who is facing disbelief of what they've done. Ember, you you know what you shared with me. And Yvaine, you feel the vestige on your brow. It does not speak to you by any measure, but you comprehend this is Ember's shame. This is a moment of shame for him, a moment of what he feels to be sin, a moment that made him fear himself. The clergy of the Raven Queen of Vasselheim, maybe others, burn. Ember, you are there. This is you, Ember. You are confronted by this. In all of it's been scaled up to 10. And you are witnessing it. What is Ember, how's Ember reacting? And to be clear, for the sake of this, if you don't mind, this should be in an unresolved way, right? So how are you? So go ahead. What's Ember up to? What does he look like? What's he thinking?
It's it's an odd spot in that he absolutely causes a conflagration. And in in abject contrition in the seconds after, you've thrown the punch, you've landed it, you can see them going to the floor and you're going, oh God, what did I do?
So maybe this
uh
happens before you as well, then, Yvaine, where you see him in this moment, and maybe a new target appears, and almost like losing track of the reality of his senses, uh, furrows his brow in anger and raises his hand, and the flames just burst around this person, emulating them. And again, you get that look of Ember kind of retracting and like, why did I do that? What have I done? But please continue if there's others. Anything else, Ember?
no, that's pretty much it. I mean, there's fire is one of those things. Once you uncork the bottle, it's uncorked.
Absolutely. There are shards of glass in the sky, floating around, massive like the mirror that broke in reality. You're seeing this, and you know this is Ember's shame, Ember's sin. What do you do?
To be clear, just am I interacting it with this in a lucid dreaming sort of way? All right.
You and he seem to be the only conscious people aware. This is like Ember's dream self, like not fully lucid. This is Ember. You're kind of talking to Ember's subconscious right now, almost. You are fully lucid and fully conscious and fully aware and empowered by the knowledge of what this all means.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I said you were dead.
Uh,
How are you not dead? And the Ember will look over to the person on fire and just abject guilt. uh, fall to your knees in with inability to act, guilt.
And I absolutely, and I will say in tandem as Ember sort of falls to his knees in guilt, you see the large panes of shattered glass floating in the sky, Yvaine, in tandem with this wave of emotion Ember feels like break apart more, basically becoming like going from solid pieces to like breaking into threes, essentially.
Okay, but this isn't what happened. Can I warp the reality back to what I know happened?
No.
Oh shit.
You gain insight though, as you try to. Again, there's no speaking here. It is just pure understanding. Like like remembering something you learned. There's no communication between you and the vestige. It's just like it's just pure insight. It's pure knowledge. And what you understand is, of course, this isn't how it went. But that's not the point of this. This is a subconscious. This is the metaphor. This isn't about reality. This is about emotion. You get the sense the only way you're getting out of here is through Ember. He needs your help.
Okay. Let's go home.
How?
Right.
They let you die. They
Do you
let that
trust me?
six-armed bitch kill you. Or
Yeah,
at least
they
that's
did.
what they said.
Okay. Stay with me. Do you trust me?
Of course.
Okay.
You see, as you say, do you trust me? And he says, of course. And maybe this fragment of Ember sort of looks to you, maybe not necessarily to leave, but to help him. And you do see as you establish that trust, some of the glass pieces begin to pull together as if you're making progress. And you're learning. This isn't about leaving. This isn't about avoidance. This isn't about anything about that. This is about reconciling these feelings. It's up to you, Yvaine, to help Ember reconcile his shame. And in this way, you may heal this part of his mind and thus find a way past, escape, leave, move on.
Okay. We're gonna work our way out of this. She's a tricksy bitch. I am here.
I burned them all.
Time is a strange thing.
It is.
Tell me something.
Change.
Are you capable of truly learning if there isn't pain? There's always a sacrifice for true wisdom.
There's always a price for knowledge.
Okay.
Sometimes it's gentle, sometimes it's not.
And sometimes it's forgiving yourself. You love, and sometimes you don't think. Put the flames out. Guide us home.
And Ember will start to control flame to reduce and quench the pockets of fire. I'd have taken them all.
I know.
It wouldn't have been right, but I would have.
And this feeling you're feeling right now is what she would have lived with. And it would have been a hook. So you've the gift of wisdom. It is not pleasant. So do it differently. Choose differently.
I did wish her not to be anymore.
Oh, there we go.
And
So there's a reckoning.
Sorry, please.
And so there's your reckoning.
And it was directed at the right place. I owe those people an apology.
And that is something you don't do easily.
No. That is very true. And Ember will reach up a hand and will, with aid, get back to his feet.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And as that happens, the glass and forms into this great sort of pane of glass window. This window. And all of the fire dies away. The ember before you also sort of fades away as well, but not in like a not like the rest of the scene. The rest of the scene kind of almost like disappears like smoke, which is what it all is at the end of the day. But Ember just kind of he just kind of loses just the hard edges of his shape. It just kind of becomes this white flame, this candlelight in the mist, and retracts, recedes, not violently, just it's time for you to move on. And you find you'd be pulled up through the next window, and the window smashes as you go through it. As you move on to the next part, you do see in the fragments of glass prophecy. I want you to roll me a perception check to spy something through the glass.
$19.
19. Excellent. Yeah. Oh, this is like the big one too. In a glass, you see reflection. And as you see reflection, you see yourself. And you see yourself wearing the vestige. And almost like light sort of whizzing past the glass just for a moment, as if looking past your physical self and, or more or less, past the physical vestige and to its past. And you see gods. You see giants. You see in the black of night, in some ruin that is meant to fit the very size of a god, you see within a beautiful young silver-haired woman wearing this immortal in its design golden crown that sort of floats above her head, almost like something from a future that you'll never experience. It's almost arcane and alien, and it's how advanced it looks. She wears long, draping, beautiful blue robes, and is wound around by massive, endless scrolls. But she looks around and realizes she's in danger. This beautiful, beautiful woman who does not look unlike a cobalt arcanist. and from the black comes a monster 3 times her size that is incomprehensible to view. Just slithering from the darkness is just this mass of endlessly long, uh, just tails, tentacles that are as thick as ships, and endless, just roiling like waves, rows and rows of teeth and eyes, just sort of wrapping itself around like an octopus, these pillars, and pulling itself forth. Um, and there is this sort of moment of readiness from this woman as she brings her hand forth, and all of these luminous words jump from the scroll and fire off the end of her hand, like she like casting 100 ninth level spells in just a single wave of the arm. And they smash into this being and are just utterly consumed by pure entropy. It damages them, but like trying to like burn away like a colony of ants with a single beam. Just the mass of it, like a great swarm or a mob, just writhes around the blows and falls upon her in a overwhelming blow of just pure take. Not end, not death, but just the essence of entropy and take. And wounds her. Madness lashes itself across knowledge, and she will never recover. Not in 100,000 years. And you move on from that pane of glass. Next, you hear the crashing of waves. You are in a room that you've been in before, actually. You are in the Arc Lector's chamber with the seats back to back in the bed and all the mirrors around on the first floor that you saw when you first came into the place. You see on her knees, sobbing, is Kira. And she is surrounded by 3 or 4 mirrors all pointing at her. And spilling from where the panes of glass should be, like coming up and like frozen in the air, are the shards of glass. But because you wear the vestige, you're able to. The glass almost seems to like tilt itself and position itself forward enough that you're able to get a fragmented image. And basically, through your own prophecy, see Kiro's prophecy of her past. And you see her brother going, "Don't worry, kid, I'll be back. It's just an easy run." And you see the reality of that. That's a memory. You see him going up the plank and moving slowly. And you see the sort of curling of the Raven Queen's wings around him. And then you see prophecy. And you hear him say, "Don't worry, kid, it'll just be a couple days." And Kira goes, "No, no, no. Just trust me. Let me come. Just please." Okay, I mean, your mom's gonna miss you, but sure. And as they go up the gangplank together, you see the great raven wings that were waiting at the top kind of are pushed back, and a thread that was snapped kind of realigns itself and vibrates like in your second trial. And you come out of that just having seen all of that in the glass and know what Kiro saw. Kiro struggling against the weight of prophecy and knowledge that she could have saved her brother if she had only known. And you are similar to Ember in this moment of unresolved guilt. You see all the broken glass around the room from the various mirrors that she looked into and saw this change of fate. What do you do?
Not always as simple as all that,
Kiro, you're just like Ember, there, conscious, but be aware this isn't fully Kiro. This is the subconscious part of her that hasn't resolved this in its purest essence, even if you have suppressed it, you yourself.
Saved his life and I didn't. I knew I could have saved his life and I didn't.
You didn't know. You had a hunch. It's not the same. And retroactively, you don't get, that's not fair. Judge yourself, but be a fair judge. Did you see the other things that happened because of his death?
What
Everything's
other
connected. Your own story of redemption. It's harder for you now because you don't remember everything. But the truth of the matter is, you became a different person. You became the person you are now. We learn from our bad decisions. That wasn't a bad decision.
so then I accept that it's no one's fault and move on.
Yeah? Yeah, no, it's like, I don't mean to be quip about it, but yeah, exactly. People die, Kiro. It's awful and it's tragic and it makes life important, but also it's very necessary.
I guess I figure it was always supposed to be me.
Why? For any particular reason that you just thought randomly that you were supposed to die before your brother?
From what I from what I remember of how I feel and what went on that day, that was my job. That was what I was supposed to do. That's who I was.
You were told to stay. Did he outrank you?
I mean, yeah, he was.
Uh, you may judge yourself, but be fair. If we were to change the face and we were to say you were, I don't know, Bev, and you were looking at Bev making these judgments, how would you judge Bev? I'm just curious.
That's not fair. Bev wouldn't be in this situation. Bev would have chosen better before now. Anyone would have chosen better before now. No,
No, that's not. That's choice is choice. It's not bad or good. It's choice. He made his choice. You honored it. You can't control the choices of others. You can only give your best. Yeah, you did your best at the time. Did he live a good life?
yeah.
Well, then he's probably living it up in the afterlife.
So accept that it's no one's fault. Accept that he's gone and move on.
Yeah, take the L and move on. Just let him go. It's fine. Like it's painful. It's part of life. It sucks to lose people. It's what makes them precious, It's the fact that we can lose them. Would you like to get
Yeah,
out
I
of here?
guess that is the only thing that I've wanted this whole time. This whole time.
All right, pirate. Well, how about an exchange of goods then? In exchange for your being a shit to yourself, right? You can lay that down. It's going to be your duty. And we get the fuck out of here. Just saying.
Deal. 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 1,000 times deal.
The
That's
like falling dominoes, the glass repairs itself. That is never to say that a single conversation resolves anything this traumatic, but maybe lights a spark of healing, or at least starts pushing it in the right direction. And same as before, all the mirrors, all the fragments of the mirrors assemble themselves into a single pane-like mirror in the middle of the room, and all fades away like dust and smoke in the room, other than Kira, who fades into a single drop of water that just falls, but you expect it to hit water that the drop, but it never does. And you are pulled through the pain yet again. This one requires no perception check. The fragments of glass, you don't get an insight into what has happened or what will happen, but what is happening. You see, just for a moment, yourself with the vestige on. Your friends all, this is all tableau, silhouette. Not silhouettes, right? Just tableau. Your friends all looking at the door, maybe back at you, trying to figure out what it is they're supposed to do in this moment, and you move through the door. You see the angel has imposed himself across the door like a second lock, is like holding both sides of the frame, and is sort of like shoved his wings against the frame to kind of turn his body into a wall. And 20 somewhat of his vampires is just like in Arcane, the end of Arcane season 2, those robots, how they like rolled over each other in like a human swarm, like a single-minded hive of swarm. Like that, they are on him, over him, literally like rats trying to escape a hot container are trying to like burrow through him to get to the door. There's one who's got his teeth fully latched into the angel. There's one that's laying on the ground, screeching as its mouth is covered in a golden ichor, which you assume is the angel's blood. The angel has a look of pure, like screaming and like resolution and pain, not physical pain, emotional pain, just like kind of like crying out for them to stop. But they are beyond sense and beyond the willpower that they've restrained themselves with, and like one's like pulling parts of his like handfuls of feathers off the end of his wings to try and like get through. One is like just punching against his ribs, trying like actually like trying to like rip his body apart to get through it like a second door. There's just no sense there. Jorik Voss, the blood hunter, the experienced blood hunter, is on the floor with maybe 5 vampires on top of him, with their faces like buried in his chest. He's dead. Perrin Brill is uh being chased by maybe 6 or 7 as well, but she's at the end of the hall. You get the sense that she was told to leave, and she is actually midway phased through a wall and she appears ethereal. You get the sense that this is part of her power as a blood hunter. And there's about 6 vampires just like after her, like desperately trying to get to her. And this is the past, the present. This is in the future. This is in the past. This is purely the moment of the present. No more, no less. There is peril, but what's important is you look beyond it, and you are going to see outside. There is 2 long fragments of almost like silver-like mirror across the planescape, as if the fragments of this demiplane are being shattered as you speak, as you heal your party members, as you help your party members confront their sin and their shame and those parts of themselves that demons feed on. It is destroying the demiplane and opening a passage out. You move on. You see Drysrinn. Next. Let's go see Drysrinn. You see her. You hear the roaring of the crowd. You find yourself walking through the gates of the God's Brawl Arena. There are petals of victory falling through the air. You come to the epicenter where people are on their feet and almost like in slow motion. Again, everything is black and white in here, but in slow motion, just of like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people applauding, and in the center of the arena is standing heroically radiant, the epitome of a great warrior. Hammer held aloft is Finch Andegard, and at his side, or at their side, excuse me, sort of shoulder to shoulder, like arm around each other, you see Wyatt Andegard, sword raised. 2 mighty champions of Bahamut, the greatest of warriors that Tal'Dorei has to offer. And laying at their feet, thrown down, defeated and bloodied, is Drysrinn. Just body broken, slashed and torn, but not seemingly in physical pain, but is just looking up at the sky as lightning shoots across the sky. But it's not like in the normal way of Cord, where it's empowering. It's like the storm's coming and I am one with the storm. Not like that. It's almost like the opposite side you don't want to be on. The judgment side of the storm. The wrath. As if the storm is preparing to send a judging bolt down to the failed warrior. As if Cord himself, this rain that falls, isn't a blissful rain. It is like Cord spitting down upon the defeated. And everything around here feels heavy. Like you're feeling Drysrinn. She cannot stand, not because she's hurt, because she's defeated. She lays at the feet of these great heroes of Bahamut. Glass shattered across the storm-struck sky.
Evie sits down cross-legged next to you. Hey.
You should go.
Oh, no. No. I'm not going anywhere. Why would I do that? They're not quite the assholes they seem to be in this particular moment. They are assholes, and I am not saying they're not pompous assholes. I do want to be clear about that. But this particular tableau is, I mean, it's maybe pushing it a bit much. So, what are you so worried about? What is all this?
My whole existence, I have felt the, I don't want to say need, but the want and desire to finally be powerful enough to stand against those who would see me fall. And I haven't gotten to do that. Ever. Not even with the power he granted me.
Okay. I feel like we're in the middle of a thing, and you're passing judgment on a thing as though we were at the end of it. And I don't know that I think that that's exactly fair. You can't possibly believe that Court's greatest vision for you was that you win a tournament. You can't possibly think that that's. Please tell me that's not what you think that is.
The tournament, no.
All right.
But if I can't stand up to those that are more powerful than me, if I get wiped across the floor with then I'm not who I say I am and who I have trained to be, and I fail him.
I'm on.
Each time.
Intentions matter. You haven't failed yet, so stand back up. But I would consider this. Nobody's doing it, like, he didn't do it on his own. The prime deities work together, right? They're there in their little posse, right? One of the things that makes us good together is that we work together. I don't know that I think it's fair that you're judging yourself on how well you work in single combat when we work together, right? You bop things, I keep you healed, you do surgery on my eye, right? It's we're better together. Could you imagine if I would have had to have actually removed my eye on my own? Makes a
That
difference.
was the worst case scenario. Yvaine, are you always going to stand up for me?
Yeah. Why wouldn't I?
I think I'm starting to realize I haven't had very many people in my corner.
No. No, you haven't.
All right. And even with no strength in Jason's body, she's going to try and push herself up.
You help her up, Yvaine?
Yeah. If I may recommend.
Drysrinn. Oh, please go ahead.
She'll offer you up and then she'll say, if I may recommend, I think perhaps it's less about sporting tournaments and more about the fact that we're trying to beat the betrayer gods back into their own planes. Perhaps if we could get through that, and you could judge yourself based on how well you do that task for court. Just withhold your judgment until that moment. I feel like this thing he's chosen you for is a bit more important. It's something for you to ruminate on, my love. And I could go plant some more invasive plants at your mother's house if you'd like.
I would say yes. Not sure if left kick has allergies though, so would be careful.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Should we go home now?
But you know what?
Oh, no, please.
I want out of here so bad. It's been so creepy. Why are we here?
All right.
I mean,
We'll retract from that. So yes, this part of Drysrinn, this her shame or guilt. Drysrinn, as Yvaine lends you the hand, you've said I haven't had a lot of people in my corner. You recognize that what is I'm sure a very important part of Stormlord doctrine is that a warrior's greatest strength is the man at his right and the woman at his left when he goes to battle. His friends. And you realize that probably now more than ever. And it's been told you many times, you get knocked down, it's about getting back up. Can't get back up if you don't or lend a hand. As Yvaine lends you a hand, all this gravity seems lighter. You rise as you know you can. It's not about how many defeats you take, it's about if you get back up. You do. The scene recedes. Drysrinn's form recedes into what is essentially a ball of lightning. That isn't the flame of war. It isn't that spark of anger, of the bloodlust of war. It is something much more impossible to stop. That's the thing with storm, with lightning. You can't stop it. It's inevitable. And the heart of Drysrinn recedes. And you are pulled up into the storm, Yvaine, where the window, the glass is. You are pulled through that one. And next you come upon good Cedric. You see you're on a ship. You're on a ship. It's stormy. But not in like a ship-threatening storm. Sure, it's raining, but again, not enough to threaten the canvas of the sails. What is dangerous about the storm is that it's so foggy. It's so hard to see the way in any direction at all. The ship bows as it moves through the water, Yvaine. And you see Cedric standing at the front, at the bow of the ship, looking off the front, like trying to see through the fog, trying to get somewhere. But what you do notice is that the ship isn't riding the waves. It is riding bones. It is riding skulls. It is riding upon fallen warriors. Not all warriors. Frankly, a lot of them look mercenary, adventurer, not unlike your party. People who have certainly died in battle. This ship rides into the mist upon the backs of various dead adventurers, their faces not hard to see from below. You see Cedric trying to make his way through the storm, but he cannot see the way. He does not know what lies ahead. What this all means, well, I'll tell you this. know you're heading by the grace of the power of the Vestige. It is to Tal'Dorei, but it's clear whoever runs this ship does not know if they will get there in time. Does not know if they'll get there while there's anybody left worth knowing. Cedric is at the head of the ship and cannot see the way, does not know what lies there. Please.
So, Cedric. Hell of a day.
Hate ships.
I see why. All right. Are
I'll
you
say this,
truly?
Yvaine. I'm just to give
Okay.
context to what's coming as you are entering the scene. Almost your knowledge continues to grow as you get to understand the scene innately. You're looking off. You're like, "Hey, hell of a day," and he goes, "I hate ships." And as you look into the water, you see the subtleties of Cedric's face and the people who flow by in the water. You see that, and you know that the people that this ship sails upon is upon the bodies of friends and enemies. You notice now that not even the rain can wash away the blood on Cedric's hands. Please continue.
Ah. So what kept you busy in Wildmount? It seemed like you'd been away for a while.
I chased adventure and excitement. Found mostly death. I gave death. Received death. I ran away from home. And those who survived went back to theirs. I'm just left for the dead.
You made your choice. They made their choices. Choices are not wrong. They are what they are. And death by whatever means is part of the weave as well. It's all not. It is about balance. It is not all lightness and dark.
I don't know that I care
Doing
about any
something.
of that anymore. I just trying to find the way home.
No, but I think you have to care to find the way home. I rather think that's the point. There are certain things you're not going to be able to sit on the fence. You've traveled into a demi-plane of the abyss. You've seen the blessings of gods. You've felt the curses of others. You can reach for the light, but you're going to have to reach for something. You will not drift your way home.
I just don't know the way.
Did you ever fight for something important? Have you always fought strictly for money?
It was rarely for money. We took money sometimes, but it wasn't for the money.
What was it for?
I'm just not sure I remember what the other reasons were.
Okay. And now?
At the time, it seemed important.
And it may well have been. The moment, though.
All those years, the thing I ran away from is the only thing I want to find again.
And that is.
Home.
Where is home?
I will say, in this moment, there is a figure that appears in the fog right ahead. Just for a moment, like a glimpse, maybe more like an illusion that both of you see, and it is what the first one is very clearly and recognizably the image of his sister. Just a silhouette, barely visible in the fog. Maybe there's others too. I don't want to speak too much for you, Cedric, but I think metaphorically, at the very least, you see another feminine-looking gnomish figure. Maybe you see a couple of little tiny baby gnomes at her side. Maybe you see a house with a little chimney and a picket fence. You see peace, you see people, you see love, but only the silhouettes through the fog. They disappear, fragments, uncertain if they'll ever be found.
Do you remember what your sister is?
Know where she is. I just have to find out how I can be there with her.
Let's focus on her. Don't focus on the path. Focus on her.
Say that, as you say, focus on that. Maybe that image in the fog sort of comes to bear too. Maybe not necessarily in like proper size or anything, but maybe like a figment within the fog, like an unfound desire. And you see maybe just the faintest image of Cedric walking up a gangplank, the image of this younger gnome. I'm not looking too pleased about it. Emotional about it even. See an image of Cedric reaching out and her with her back to him. You see that she's hurt, closed off. No matter how much Cedric reaches out, she can't quite find her in the fog.
What are the children?
No.
No?
I've never. When you're throwing yourself into every battle you can find, there's not time to think of such things. And maybe that was part of the point.
Oh. So there was never a partner.
Not like that,
Okay.
but there were friends, the family we made, I
I
watched
understand that.
too many of them die.
Do
The
any of them
ones,
still live?
a few, they found their ways back home. And here I am.
Tell me about one of them.
Hmm.
One who made their way back home.
Sasha was always trouble.
Like the sound of that. Tell me more.
Quicker with his blade than anyone you've seen. Now she makes herself trouble for. She's found herself a little thieves guild. She pretends to be notorious. It suits her.
Do you happen to know where?
Rexington.
Tell me more about your friend in Exentrum. Tell me all the wonderful things you remember about her.
She liked men too much. Some can't help but drink too much. Sasha couldn't help but have too many men. She was
Look
good
out
at
and
it.
see if, can you look into the mist and see if you can see her?
Yeah, look.
Mister? DM?
Sorry.
No,
What
no,
was
it's
that?
okay. Um, I he's talking about his friend Sasha, and he knows where she is, and we're kind of thinking about her and seeing if we can find her in the mist.
Um, I will say just like everything else, it is an obscured factor. Maybe you see the shape of her, maybe you catch sign of um her kind of wandering, but maybe that is behind actually, back in that direction. As
Ah,
if I'm not mistaken, Cedric, those individuals remain on the other continent.
They do.
At least as far as you know, yes. So maybe you're like looking around and you can't seem to find her at all, and then you do kind of catch the glimpse of the shape behind the ship, sort of receding away.
It's not so much that I don't know where home could be. It's that I don't know how to find my way to deserving it again.
oh, of course you deserve home. Obviously, I think everyone does. But red judgment, like, who is your. You are putting yourself through hell. Why? Like, to what end?
I just don't know where to go from here.
Pick a direction. Let's get him on. You have a home there. You literally have a home there. Like, the bastion's part yours. You have a home and you have a purpose. Some really cool friends too.
Maybe. Maybe. Maybe there's a few more shapes, still not sharp and distinct. Maybe a few more shapes out there on the horizon. I think we've lost him again.
Oh no.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, you're catching me out of the walk. All right. What was the question?
Yvaine
Cedric?
was suggesting maybe there's a new place to think of as being a possible home. Cedric was thinking maybe the same.
I will say that, like, in this idea, because you haven't seen the shards of glass yet in the scene, I'll say as you see that they do start to sort of like the shapes of them emerging from the shadow. The shapes in the fog maybe not coalescing into anything useful, much like the other scenes. Not being a necessarily accurate reflection of the truth, but a metaphor of what we're dealing with. But you do see the glass shards sort of like emerging from the mist. Something that is also hard to see, but nonetheless coming into view. And has represented coming to completion, perhaps, a new home. But I don't want to step on
Nope.
Cedric's toes if you don't believe that that would be a
That's where we were heading.
Excellent. So you bring up a new home, and that is something Cedric's kind of feeling. And these, I'll say these shards of glass sort of coalesce and solidify. And while it's still misty out here and still uncertain, at least the will to travel continues. And to look beyond the actual sea of what has been left behind or is being left behind and what is forward. Cedric, along with the rest of the scene, diminishes and fades. But what remains of Cedric, actually, in his heart of hearts, is this, I'd say, like, frankly, like a beautiful, like, a plant, in a non-described plant, not a flower, not necessarily. No, what a tree! I think is perfect, like a sapling tree, one that's roots expand to find others, one that is doing what it can to grow, one that has a heart of nature, and that diminishes as well. And you crash through as the ship vanishes into the sea, which is now a pane of glass. And what you see, Yvaine, as you feeling the fractures of this place has grown more and more so to the point where you can almost feel like the groaning of existence around you, which is what you want. You see the future. A potential future, anyway. You see a grassy plain. In the background, there are standing stones of Shade Barrow. It is sealed now. But kneeling in the grass is some 36 fully fleshed out now vampires, all on their knees surrounding this just torn and drank full corpse of their father, laying splayed in the grass. The divine essence drank right out of them, and these vampires sitting around in a circle, the blood around their mouth like burning, creating an actual like pillar of steam above them from the burning on their skin, but they don't react to it. They look upon their dead father with guilt and with shame. And what is the future quickly begins to unravel into a number of glimpses. These are not things that you fully interact with. These are things that you kind of shoot past and catch on the way. This translates into some 36 consciousnesses that are not fully realized, but nonetheless scream in apprehension and terror as about 36 vampires watch as they have no control over their bodies, as they kill their father, who stands in the doorway, and they scream to try and make themselves stop, but they can't. And you see that fear and that shame come as an overwhelming psychic force that you kind of almost bounce off of, Yvaine. It's just too much. But you witness the shared psyche of these vampires in this present moment. Their greatest sin, their greatest fear, their greatest shame is that they're killing their father. And they can't stop it. It's because of what they are. And what they are is evil. You bounce off of it like a ball off the side of the wall. It is too much psychic pressure to deal with, and it gives you this spiritual psychic momentum and blast past a number of people you might have wished to have stopped and spoken to. You see a little boy drenched in the blood of his mother and his father, sitting in a well enough village, but every person is dead, either ripped apart or throats torn open. You see a little boy sitting in the middle, crying to the sky, screaming his mom and his father's name as dark men come from the woods who were hunting just what did this. You see a little girl who is purely snow white of skin, pupilless, black around the eyes, short bob cut like hair, wandering around the woods, calling out the names of the gods. But they don't care to hear her. She's alone. She always will be alone. You blast past that. You see Perrin Brill, perhaps. You see her, frankly, her greatest fear in this moment is a wash of vampires descending upon her and ripping her apart. Whatever greater subliminal fear there may be, in this moment, she has discovered a new one. You blast past that. You see Camellia sitting in the heart of a beautiful valley, and stemming from her in all directions is rot and blackness as little birds fall from the trees dead, unable to support the breath of their own lungs, trees bending over, leaves failing, and all the color of the world turning to black as, because of her, the world that she loves dies. That goes past. Zarbolg's there. I don't want to speak for Zarbolg, but you blast past that as well. Maybe we'll say, narratively speaking, that that's the first thing that you might have seen after seeing the vampires, and that momentum picks up, but the momentum is too intense for you to even glimpse what is going on with Zarbolg. And that is how the narrative would play out, that you don't catch him. I believe I've hit all of them, except the last one, and perhaps the most important one to land on. You come to the center where all the cracks converge, where there are 5 silvery broken mirror slashes that all converge in this one central figure, and you see the luminous angel beating wings above the castle. Not above the castle. I'll say above a city that doesn't look like unlike Vasselheim, but much, much smaller. You expect what Vasselheim maybe looked like some couple hundred years ago, when he would have known what it looks like. And it's screaming. And oh no, that's not it. I'm so sorry. His wings are beating above a field where you see basically holy mortals and paladins battling with his children. And there's a number of horrible scenes to be seen down there. There are some of his sons who have lost themselves to bloodlust. There is Rhevan, who stands in black armor, commanding the armor with a venomous look upon his face. There is the paladins have come to see them as truly evil and means to destroy them by all means. This battlefield is taking place and he floats above. And you realize in this moment it's not a fear. It could be very easily misinterpreted as a fear of what his sons might become, but you understand that that's not at all it. His greatest fear, and what is the convergence of this whole place, this most light and luminous being out of all of you, he fears more intensely than anything else, he will fail them. That he won't be able to help them. That he won't be able to redeem them, or that he fails to redeem them. Not that he tried. Not that they're deserving of it. Not that he made a mistake. None of these things. These are not what he fears, and you know this. In like divine revelation, you know that this angel does not fear any of these things. He fears failing those who would call him father. Failing them to their darker natures. And he watches as he has failed them, as they take battle and receive battle from holy warriors and lose themselves to the vampiric nature that they need to resist. He failed them. And that is what you have been brought here to help him overcome. And you understand this, while all of your people are mortal and they all contribute, he is the fault line. He is the anchor of this demiplane. It is his fear that feeds it all. And he is the linchpin to this escape. And you are floating up there with him as he beats his wings and looks down with angelic tears at his failure.
No parents can control what their children do. You gave them a choice. A choice no one else would have given them. And many of August is a dick.
Yes. And they did, and you're right. And they chose to trust me. They want... And you're seeing a much more raw side of him. He's been very polite and very kind and understanding, but a much more raw side of him. He says, they want to be better. They want to be good. If they didn't, I would have slain them long ago. They want to be better, and they just didn't know how, and they trusted me enough to call me father, to guide them through the dark, through the hunger. They want to be better than this, and I failed them. Failed them to help them become who they wish to be.
No. You didn't fail them. The situation failed. They're not the same. You went to do something that no one else would have done. There is something that could be done in the future. You did a very worthwhile thing.
What do you mortals say? The path to hell is paved with good intentions.
But the intentions do matter.
I'm not so sure. Not to me. Not to me. If someone asks for my help, I do not care for my strain. I care that they were saved. I care for the result. I don't want to fail them.
But you have to give them the opportunity to fail.
I think that line being the purest, most important piece of the puzzle. For this one, I'm actually going to ask you to make me, weirdly enough, either an insight or religion check to persuade him with. He likes you already. It's not about persuasion. He already likes you guys. He already thinks highly of you. This is about aligning with what he is as an angel.
All right, we're going to go with insight. That's not bad. I think it's going to be a dirty 20. It's an 11 on the dice. I'm sorry, plus 13. So 11 and 13 is a 24.
You say these
I
words.
I have expertise.
You say these words, and they hang heavy in the air for a moment. And he considers. And he says, "The gods left mortals to make their own fates, did they not? To let them fail, fall to evil, and rise to goodness, and accept guidance only when requested."
They did.
They will fail, won't they? But they can still succeed after.
I promise they will be given the opportunity.
Have I done all I can? Have I done enough? Will it be enough?
It will.
And after all of these years, perhaps it's time to see. And the remaining panes of glass shatter away until the demi-plane itself, the reality of it that was constructed by evil, is destroyed. And almost in the breaking of glass, Yvaine, you just hear one final sentiment, one final pitiful breath of empty threat, or full threat, but nonetheless, a final pitiful, "I'll never forget this." As the voice and will of Orcus recedes. And you leave behind his petty threats and his dark torments. And as you return to the world of Tal'Dorei next session, I'll have you all level up. And we will end the session there.
That was awesome. I will be putting some points into Constitution now.
Everybody take inspiration.